I'm standing in my kitchen with grocery bags in both hands when I see her. Bridget is leaning against my counter like she owns the place, laughing at something on her phone. She looks up when I walk in, and instead of looking surprised or embarrassed, she smiles. "Oh good, you're home," she says. Like this is normal, like she's supposed to be here. My husband Warren is standing near the fridge, and he doesn't look surprised either. He looks uncomfortable, which is different. He won't quite meet my eyes. "Bridget, what are you doing here?" I ask. I set the groceries down carefully, even though my hands want to shake. She holds up a key, my house key. It catches the light as she jingles it. "Warren asked me to handle things now," she says. Her voice is sweet, helpful. The same voice she's used for 8 years at birthday parties and holiday dinners. "You've been so stressed lately. We thought it would be easier if someone helped out." I look at Warren. "We?" He shifts his weight. "I gave her a key last week. She's been helping with some things while you're at work." My stomach drops. Not because Bridget has a key, although that's weird enough, but because Warren made this decision without me. Because they're both standing in my kitchen acting like this is normal. "What things?" I ask. Bridget's smile gets wider. "Oh, just household stuff. Bills, paperwork, organizing. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it." Like I'm a child who can't handle her own life. I force myself to stay calm. "I can handle my own household." "Of course you can," Bridget says. She's still smiling, but something in her eyes has gone hard. "But Warren thought you could use the help. Starting with your accounts." The word accounts hits me like cold water. My accounts? Your bank accounts, your household accounts. I'm gonna help Warren get everything organized, make it easier for both of you. Warren is staring at the floor now. He's not defending me. He's not correcting her. He's just standing there letting this happen. I look at Bridget. Really look at her. She's 43, 2 years older than me. We've known each other for 8 years. Our sons went to the same elementary school. She came to my Christmas parties. I went to her barbecues. I trusted her. And now she's standing in my kitchen with my house key, talking about handling my accounts. And my husband is letting her. "Warren, can I talk to you?" I say quietly. "Alone?" "Actually," Bridget says before Warren can answer, "we have a lot to get through today." "Maybe later?" She's dismissing me, in my own house. I look at Warren, waiting for him to say something, anything, but he just nods slightly like he agrees with her. That's when I know something is very wrong. This isn't about helping. This isn't about my stress. This is something else entirely. I pick up my grocery bags without unpacking them and walk to my bedroom. My hands are shaking now, but I keep my face calm. I close the door and sit on the bed. 8 years. Bridget has been in our lives for 8 years. I've trusted her with my son. I've shared meals with her. I've told her things about my marriage, my work, my life. And now she has a key to my house and permission to access my accounts. I pull out my phone to check my bank app. Maybe I'm overreacting. Maybe this is innocent. But I can't shake the feeling in my gut. The feeling that tells me I just walked in on something I was never supposed to see. My phone buzzes. A text from Bridget. "Don't worry, Natalie. I'm here to help. Warren and I have everything under control." I read it 3 times. The words sound helpful, but the message underneath is clear. Warren and I. Not Warren and you. Warren and I. My phone buzzes again. Another text. "Starting with your accounts." I sit there, staring at those words, and I know with absolute certainty that my life just changed. I just don't know how much yet. Let me tell you who I am, because apparently someone needs to remember. My name is Natalie Foster. I'm 41 years old. I've been married to Warren for 22 years. We have one son, Owen, who's 18 and starting college in the fall. I work as an accountant at a mid-size firm. I'm the person who plans everything. Vacations, budgets, our retirement accounts, Owen's college fund. I'm the planner, the organizer, the one who keeps our lives running smoothly. Or at least I was, until today. Bridget Hayes has been part of our lives for 8 years. Her son Dylan went to school with Owen. They played on the same soccer team, went to the same summer camps, had sleepovers at each other's houses. Bridget was always there, cheering at games, helping with fundraisers, hosting team parties. She seemed safe, friendly, helpful. A little lonely maybe. She's divorced, raising Dylan on her own. We tried to include her in things, holiday dinners, Summer barbecues, birthday celebrations. I thought I was being kind. I thought we were being good friends. Now I'm sitting in my bedroom, my heart pounding, wondering what I missed. What signs did I ignore? Warren hasn't come to check on me. It's been an hour since I left the kitchen, and he hasn't knocked on the door once. He's still out there with Bridget, doing whatever they're doing. I look around our bedroom. Everything looks normal. The photos on the dresser, Warren and me on our honeymoon, Owen as a baby, family vacations, the books on my nightstand, the clothes in our closet. But normal is a lie. Normal ended the moment I saw Bridget in my kitchen with my house key. I walked to the closet where I keep my household binder. It's a thick 3-ring binder where I organize everything. Insurance papers, warranty information, account numbers, passwords, important documents. I keep it on the top shelf, always in the same place. The shelf is empty. My heart starts racing faster. I look behind the other items on the shelf. I check the floor of the closet. I look on other shelves. It's gone. I walk out of the bedroom, down the hall, trying to stay calm. Warren and Bridget are in the living room now. They stop talking when they see me. "Where's my household binder?" I ask. Bridget smiles that sweet smile again. "Don't worry, I put it somewhere secure." "Where?" "Somewhere safe. You've been stressed, and I didn't want you worrying about all those details. Warren and I will handle everything from now on." "Warren?" I look at my husband. "Why would Bridget have my household binder?" He won't look at me. "You've been under a lot of pressure at work." She offered to help organize things. "It's easier this way." "Easier for who?" "For you," Bridget says. Her voice is still sweet, but there's steel underneath. "Caleb told me how overwhelmed you've been." She called him Caleb. We always call him Warren. Only his mother calls him Caleb. "Where is my binder?" I ask again. "Safe," Bridget repeats. "That's all you need to know right now." I feel something shift inside me. This isn't about helping. This is about control. She's taking my organizational system, my records, my information, and telling me it's for my own good. I walk to the hall closet where we keep our fire safe. It's a small safe where I store our passports, birth certificates, social security cards, the deed to the house, important documents that can't be replaced easily. The shelf where the safe always sits is empty. I turn around slowly. Bridget and Warren are both watching me. "Where's the fire safe?" My voice is shaking now, but I can't help it. "I moved it," Bridget says calmly. "Warren told me to store it somewhere secure." "Warren?" I look at him directly. "Did you tell her to move our fire safe?" He shifts uncomfortably. "It was easier. She has a good storage system." That word again. Easier. "Easier for who?" I ask again. Nobody answers. My phone buzzes. I pull it out and see a notification. "New login verified, Chase Bank." I stare at the screen. I didn't log into my bank account. I'm standing in my living room. Someone else logged into my bank account. I look up at Bridget. She's watching me with that same calm smile. "Did you just access my bank account?" I ask. "I'm helping Warren organize your finances," she says. "Don't worry about it." "How did you access my account?" "You should sit down," Warren says. His voice is quiet, almost apologetic. "Let us explain." But I don't want to sit down. I don't want explanations. I want my household binder back. I want my fire safe back. I want my bank account secure. I want this woman out of my house. "Bridget, I need you to leave," I say. She doesn't move. She looks at Warren instead of me. "Warren?" she says, like he's the one who decides whether she stays in my house. And Warren, my husband of 22 years, the father of my child, looks at me and says, "Let's not make this harder than it needs to be." Not, "Yes, Bridget should leave." Not, "Let me explain what's happening." Not, "I'm sorry, this is confusing." Just, "Don't make this harder." Like I'm the problem. Like I'm the one making things difficult by wanting my own belongings in my own house. I walk back to the bedroom and close the door. My hands are shaking so badly I can barely hold my phone. I open my banking app and try to log in. Password rejected. I try my backup password, rejected. I try to reset the password using my recovery email. The email address on file isn't mine. It's one I don't recognize. I've been locked out of my own bank account. I sit on the edge of the bed, my phone in my hand, and I realize with horrible clarity what's happening. This isn't about helping me. This isn't about reducing my stress. This is a takeover, and my husband is helping her do it. I don't scream. I don't cry. Instead, I open a new note on my phone and start writing. Today's date, time. Bridget in kitchen with key. Said Warren asked her to handle things. My household binder missing, fire safe missing, locked out of bank account. Warren won't explain. Document everything. That's what you do when something is wrong and you need proof later. I don't know what's happening yet, but I know I need evidence. My phone buzzes again. A text from Warren. We're meeting Bridget's financial guy tomorrow at 2. Be there. Not asking, telling. I screenshot the text and save it to a new folder, evidence. I'm not crazy. I'm not paranoid. Something is very, very wrong, and I'm going to document every single second of it. I don't sleep. I lie in bed next to Warren, who falls asleep immediately, like nothing unusual happened today, and I stare at the ceiling, my mind racing. In the morning, Warren acts normal. He makes coffee. He asks what I want for breakfast. He kisses my forehead before heading to shower. Like yesterday didn't happen. Like our family friend isn't systematically taking control of our lives with his permission. I want to scream at him. I want to shake him and ask what he's thinking. But I learned something yesterday. Confrontation isn't going to work. Warren has already made his choice. He's chosen Bridget's version of events over mine. So instead, I smile. I make toast. I act normal too. What time is the meeting today? I ask casually. 2 o'clock. Bridget will text you the address. What kind of financial advisor is this? Someone who can help us organize everything better. Get our documents in order. Make sure we're protected. Protected from what? I want to ask. But I don't. Okay, I say instead. Should I bring anything? Just yourself. Bridget has all our paperwork. Of course she does, because she has my household binder and my fire safe. After Warren leaves for work, I start searching. I go through every closet, every drawer, every cabinet. I'm looking for my binder, my safe, anything Bridget might have moved. I find nothing. I call my bank. The automated system tells me my account is locked due to security concerns, and I need to visit a branch in person with identification to unlock it. I drive to the bank during my lunch break. The representative, a young man named Drew, looks at my account with growing concern. Mrs. Foster, there were several login attempts from an unrecognized device yesterday. The system automatically locked your account for security. But I'm also seeing that someone submitted change of address and recovery email forms last week. I didn't submit those forms. They were notarized, Drew says carefully. He shows me copies on his screen. My signature is on them, but I never signed them. That's not my signature, I say. Drew looks uncomfortable. We'll need to file a fraud report. This could take several days to resolve. Can you give me the case number? Of course. He writes it down for me. Mrs. Foster, I have to ask, do you know who might have access to your personal information? I think about Bridget with my household binder, which contains all my account numbers. Bridget with my fire safe, which contains my social security card and ID copies. Yes, I say quietly. I think I do. You should file a police report, Drew says. This looks like identity theft. But I don't file a police report. Not yet, because I need to understand what's happening first. I need to know how deep this goes. The meeting is at 2 o'clock in a small office building downtown. The name on the door says Westfield Financial Solutions. I've never heard of them. Warren is already inside when I arrive. So is Bridget. They're sitting on one side of a desk, and there's an empty chair on the other side. For me, apparently. A man in his 50s stands up when I enter. Mrs. Foster, I'm Tom Westfield. Please sit down. I sit. I keep my purse on my lap. My phone is in my pocket, recording. Thank you for coming, Tom says. Your husband and Mrs. Hayes have explained that you've been under a lot of stress lately. They're concerned about your ability to manage your finances and household responsibilities. They'd like to put some protections in place. What kind of protections? Tom slides a packet of papers across the desk. A durable power of attorney. It would allow your husband to make financial and legal decisions on your behalf if you're unable to do so. I flip through the pages. It's dense legal language, but I catch the important parts. Grants authority to make banking decisions, access accounts, sign documents. And on the second page, I see a name that makes my stomach drop. Agent Bridget Hayes. Not Warren. Bridget. This names Bridget as my power of attorney, I say carefully. With your husband as co-agent, Tom clarifies. It's just paperwork so Warren can breathe easier, knowing someone can help if you're incapacitated. I'm not incapacitated. Of course not, Bridget says soothingly. But memory issues happen at our age. Stress can cause confusion. This is just a safety net. Memory issues. Confusion. She's planting seeds, making it sound like I'm losing my mind. I flip to the signature page, and there it is, a signature that looks like mine. On a document I've never seen before. I didn't sign this, I say. Tom goes pale. He looks at Warren, then at Bridget. The notary confirmed, he starts. I didn't sign it. I repeat louder this time. That's not my signature. Natalie, Warren says quietly, don't make a scene. Someone forged my signature on legal documents, and you're telling me not to make a scene? Tom stands up abruptly. I need to make a phone call. Excuse me. He leaves the room. I'm alone with Warren and Bridget. You need to calm down, Warren says. You need to tell me what's happening. We're trying to help you, Bridget says. Her voice is still calm, but there's an edge to it now. You've been making mistakes at work, forgetting things at home. We're worried about you. I haven't forgotten anything. You forgot Owen's dentist appointment last week. That's true. I did forget. I've been distracted, stressed about work, but one missed appointment doesn't mean I need a power of attorney. Everyone forgets things sometimes, I say. And sometimes forgetting things is the first sign of something serious, Bridget says. Chemo brain, stress brain, whatever you want to call it. We're just being proactive. Chemo brain. I had breast cancer 3 years ago. I've been in remission ever since. But she's using it against me now, suggesting my treatment affected my cognitive function. I need to leave, I say. I stand up and walk out before either of them can stop me. In the parking lot, I sit in my car with my hands shaking. They tried to forge a power of attorney. They brought me to a meeting with a financial advisor who had documents with my forged signature. They're building a case that I'm incompetent, and Warren is helping them do it. I pull out my phone and call my neighbor, Kara. She answers on the second ring. Kara, I need you to do something for me. Can you watch my house for the next few days? Let me know if you see anything unusual. Of course. Is everything okay? Not really, but I'm handling it. After I hang up, I sit in the car for a long time thinking. This is bigger than a helpful friend overstepping boundaries. This is planned, systematic, deliberate. Bridget isn't just helping, she's taking over, and she's using Warren's trust and my supposed incompetence to do it. I need help. Professional help. I pull up my phone and search for elder abuse attorney, but then change it to financial exploitation attorney. I'm only 41, but what's happening to me is the same pattern that happens to vulnerable adults. Someone gains trust, isolates the victim, takes control of finances, manufactures incompetence. I find a law firm, Brennan and Associates. I call and leave a message explaining briefly what's happening. They call back within an hour. Mrs. Foster, I'm Felix Brennan. Your message concerns me greatly. Can you come in tomorrow? Yes, first thing. That night, Warren comes home late. He doesn't apologize for the meeting. He doesn't ask if I'm okay. He just says, "You embarrassed us today." Not, "I'm sorry you felt ambushed." Not, "Let's talk about what's happening." Just, "You embarrassed us." Warren, someone forged my signature on legal documents. You probably signed it and forgot, like the dentist appointment. He's gaslighting me. My own husband is gaslighting me. I don't argue. I just nod and go to bed. But I don't sleep. I lie awake, listening to Warren breathe, and I realize something terrifying. I can't trust him anymore. The person I've been married to for 22 years, the father of my child, is actively participating in someone taking control of my life. And I don't know why. In the morning, I tell Warren I have a doctor's appointment. He barely looks up from his coffee. Okay, don't forget we need to finalize things with Bridget this week. What things? The documents. The organization. Everything. Everything. Such a small word for complete control of my life. I drive to Brennan and Associates. The office is in a professional building downtown. Felix Brennan meets me in the lobby. He's in his 50s, gray hair, kind eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses. Mrs. Foster, come on back. In his office, I spread out everything I have. Screenshots of texts, the bank fraud case number, photos of my empty closet shelf where the fire safe should be, the recording from yesterday's meeting, my notes documenting everything since I found Bridget in my kitchen. Felix listens without interrupting. When I finish, he leans back in his chair. Mrs. Foster, Natalie, this is textbook financial exploitation. The pattern is clear. Isolation, taking control of documents and accounts, manufacturing incompetence, forging legal documents. What concerns me most is your husband's involvement. He thinks he's helping me. Or he's being manipulated too. Either way, he's enabling this. We need to act quickly. How much does Bridget currently have access to? My household binder with all our account information. My fire safe with our personal documents. She's changed my bank passwords, though the bank has locked my account pending investigation, and she tried to get me to sign or forged a power of attorney. Did you sign anything at that meeting? No. I left before they could pressure me. Good. That's very good. Here's what we need to do immediately. Freeze your credit with all 3 bureaus, file a police report for the forged signature, document every interaction with Bridget and your husband, and secure any assets she doesn't have access to yet. What about Warren? Felix's expression is sympathetic. That's complicated. He's your spouse, so he has some legal rights to joint assets. But if he's facilitating fraud, that changes things. Do you have any separate accounts? My paycheck goes into our joint account. Open a new account at a different bank today. Have your paycheck deposited there. Don't tell Warren or Bridget. That feels like I'm hiding things from my husband. Natalie, your husband is currently helping someone forge your signature and take control of your finances. You're not hiding things. You're protecting yourself. The words hit hard, because they're true. I spend the rest of the day following Felix's instructions. I open a new account at a credit union across town. I call the credit bureaus and freeze my credit. I go to the police station and file a report about the forged signature. The officer who takes my report, Officer Dawson, looks concerned. This is serious, Mrs. Foster. Forging someone's signature on legal documents is a felony. Do you know who did it? I have suspicions. We'll need to investigate. We'll contact the notary who supposedly witnessed the signature, and we'll need to compare the forged signature to your actual signature. How long will that take? Could be a few weeks, but in the meantime, don't sign anything and document everything. When I get home, Warren's car is in the driveway, so is Bridget's. I take a deep breath and walk inside. They're in the living room, papers spread across the coffee table. There you are, Bridget says. She sounds annoyed. We've been waiting. We need you to sign some forms. What forms? Banking forms, insurance updates, just housekeeping stuff. I'm not signing anything without reading it first. Of course, Bridget says, but her smile is tight. But Warren and I have already reviewed everything. It's all standard. I still want to read it myself. I pick up the top form. It's a change of beneficiary form for Warren's life insurance. The current beneficiary is listed as me. The new beneficiary would be Bridget Hayes. I look at Warren. You're changing your life insurance beneficiary to Bridget? He looks uncomfortable. Tess, it's just temporary, until we get everything organized. Bridget will make sure the money goes where it needs to go. Warren, I'm your wife. Why wouldn't I be your beneficiary? Because you're not thinking clearly right now, Bridget says. This way, if something happens to Warren, I can make sure you and Owen are taken care of properly. It's insane. It's completely insane. And Warren is nodding along like it makes perfect sense. I'm not signing this, I say. Natalie? Warren starts. No, absolutely not. This is my home, and I'm not signing documents that put Bridget in control of our lives. Bridget stands up slowly. Her expression changes. The helpful friend mask drops, just for a second, and I see something cold and calculating underneath. Warren, she says quietly, maybe we should let Natalie rest. She's clearly not ready to handle this conversation maturely. She's dismissing me again, in my own house. I want you to leave, I say to Bridget. She doesn't move. She looks at Warren. Warren, I think we need to have a family meeting, just us, to discuss what's best for Natalie. Get out of my house, I say louder. Don't be hysterical, Bridget says. This is exactly what I'm talking about. You can't control your emotions. That's why we need these safeguards. I walk to the front door and open it. Get out. Now. Warren stands up. For a moment, I think he's going to side with me. Then he says, Natalie, you're overreacting. Calm down. Calm down. The words men use when they want women to stop having reasonable reactions to unreasonable situations. Both of you, get out, I say. Bridget gathers her papers slowly, deliberately. She's not scared. She's not even upset. She's just calculating. This isn't over, she says as she walks past me. Warren and I will figure out what to do about you. About me. Like I'm a problem to be solved instead of a person whose life is being stolen. After they leave, Warren leaves too, which tells me everything I need to know. I lock all the doors and sit in the empty house. My phone rings. It's Felix. "How are you holding up?" he asks. They tried to get Warren to change his life insurance beneficiary to Bridget. Felix is quiet for a moment. "That's escalation. She's moving faster now, probably because you challenged her yesterday. We need to move faster too." "What do I do?" "Document everything from today. What forms they wanted you to sign, what they said, all of it." "And Natalie?" "Change your locks. Tonight. Warren has a right to the house. Warren is actively participating in your exploitation. Change the locks. If he complains, he can speak to a lawyer. Your safety is more important than his convenience." After we hang up, I call a locksmith. They can come first thing tomorrow morning. I'm sitting in my kitchen, making notes about everything that happened today, when my phone buzzes. A text from Bridget. "You made a mistake today. This could have been easy. Now it's going to be hard. And when this is over, you'll have nothing." I screenshot it immediately and send it to Felix. He calls back within minutes. "That's a threat," he says. "Save everything. If she continues to threaten you, we can get a restraining order." "What about Warren?" "What about him?" "He's my husband. How do I protect myself from someone who lives in my house?" Felix's voice is gentle. "Natalie, I know this is painful, but right now, Warren isn't acting like your husband. He's acting like Bridget's accomplice. Until that changes, you need to treat him as such." The words break something in me. My husband of 22 years, the father of my child, my partner. He's not on my side anymore. I don't know if he ever will be again. The locksmith comes at 8 in the morning. He changes all the exterior locks. Front door, back door, garage. I watch him work and think about the fact that I'm locking my own husband out of our house. But Felix was right. Warren isn't acting like my husband right now. He's acting like someone helping Bridget steal my life. When the locksmith finishes, he hands me 3 sets of keys. Want me to make extras? No, just these 3. One for me, one hidden in my car. One in my office desk. Warren calls at 9. "Why aren't you answering your phone?" "I'm answering it now. I tried to come home for something I forgot, and my key doesn't work. I changed the locks." Silence. "Then, you what?" "I changed the locks to my house. If you want to come home, you need to explain what's happening with Bridget. Until then, you can stay somewhere else." "Natalie, this is insane. You can't lock me out of my own house. You can't change your life insurance beneficiary to our family friend. But here we are." Warren's voice gets hard. "You're proving her point. You're not stable. You're making irrational decisions. I'm protecting myself from someone who forged my signature and tried to get me to sign over financial control to a woman who's been in our lives for 8 years. That's not irrational. That's survival. I'm calling my lawyer." "Good. Felix Brennan is my lawyer." "Have your lawyer call him." I hang up before Warren can respond. My hands are shaking, but I feel stronger than I have in days. I'm not passive anymore. I'm not letting this happen. I'm fighting back. Kara, my neighbor, calls 5 minutes later. "Natalie, Warren is sitting in his car in your driveway. He looks upset." "Let him sit. If he tries to break in, call the police." Should I be worried? I don't think he'd hurt me physically, but emotionally, he's already doing that. After we hang up, I go through every room in the house, looking for things that might belong to Bridget. I find a laptop bag in the spare bedroom that isn't ours. I find file folders in the home office with Bridget's handwriting on them. I find a spare phone charger that doesn't match any of our phones. She's been here more than I realized. Setting up, moving in, taking over. I pack everything into a box and put it by the front door. If she wants her things, she can come get them. But she's not coming inside. My phone buzzes. Another text from Bridget. "Warren told me what you did. This is exactly why you need help. You're not thinking clearly. Don't worry, we'll get you the support you need." The words are designed to sound caring, but they're threatening. "We'll get you the support you need" means we're going to have you declared incompetent. I forward the text to Felix. He calls immediately. "She's ramping up. That's good for us. The more desperate she gets, the more mistakes she'll make. But it's also dangerous. She might try something drastic." "Like what?" "Like filing for emergency guardianship, claiming you're a danger to yourself. It's a tactic people use when they're trying to gain control quickly. Can she actually do that? She can try. It wouldn't succeed. You're clearly competent, but the process itself is traumatic. Courts take guardianship petitions seriously. You'd have to defend yourself, prove you're capable, undergo evaluations. How do I prevent that? Document your competence. Get a letter from your doctor stating you're healthy and of sound mind. Get a letter from your employer confirming you're performing well at work. Build a paper trail showing you're functioning perfectly fine. I spend the afternoon doing exactly that. I email my doctor's office requesting a letter. I talk to my supervisor at work, explaining vaguely that I'm dealing with a family legal matter and need documentation of my work performance. She's surprised but agrees to write a letter. You're one of our most reliable employees, she says. Is everything okay? It will be, I tell her. Eventually. At 4 o'clock, Warren shows up at my office. The receptionist calls to tell me he's in the lobby. Tell him I'm in a meeting. I say. She calls back 5 minutes later. He says he'll wait. I can't hide forever. I go down to the lobby. Warren looks tired, angry, desperate. We need to talk, he says. Not here. This is my workplace. Then where? You locked me out of my house. It's our house. And I locked you out because you're helping someone steal my identity. That's not what's happening. Then explain what is happening, Warren. Explain why Bridget has my household binder. Explain why she has my fire safe. Explain why someone tried to forge my signature on a power of attorney naming her as my agent. Explain why you wanted to change your life insurance beneficiary to her. Explain all of it. Warren looks around the lobby. People are watching us. Not here, he says quietly. Then where? Coffee. Tomorrow. Just you and me, no Bridget, no lawyers? Let me explain. I want to say no. I want to tell him that explanations are too late, that he's already chosen sides. But maybe, if we talk alone, I can understand what's happening. Why he's doing this, what Bridget has on him. Tomorrow, noon, the coffee shop on 5th Street. Just us. He nods and leaves. I go back upstairs and sit at my desk, my heart pounding. Tomorrow I'll hear whatever Warren has to say, and then I'll decide what to do next. But tonight I go home to my house with its new locks, and I sleep with my phone next to my bed, ready to call 911 if anyone tries to break in. I'm 41 years old, and I'm afraid in my own home. Afraid of my husband, afraid of a woman I trusted. This is what betrayal looks like. This is what it feels like to have your life stolen from you slowly, piece by piece, by people who smile while they do it. But I'm not giving up. I'm documenting everything, building my case, protecting myself, and tomorrow, maybe I'll finally get some answers. I meet Warren at noon at the coffee shop on 5th Street. He's already there when I arrive, sitting in a back corner booth. He's ordered my usual, large latte with an extra shot, which would be touching if I weren't so on guard. I sit down across from him. I don't touch the coffee. Talk, I say. Warren looks at his hands. He looks older than he did a week ago, tired like he hasn't been sleeping. I owe you an explanation, he says finally. You owe me more than that, but an explanation is a start. Bridget has been helping me with something I didn't want you to know about. My stomach drops. Are you having an affair? What? No, God no, nothing like that. He looks genuinely horrified by the suggestion. This is about money. What about money? Warren takes a deep breath. I made some bad investments 5 years ago. Really bad. I lost a lot of money. Money from our retirement account. I stare at him. How much? $200,000. The number hits me like a physical blow. 200,000. Our retirement savings. Gone. How? I managed to ask. A friend from work had this opportunity. Cryptocurrency mining operation. He showed me projections, promised huge returns. I invested without telling you because I wanted to surprise you when it paid off. Except it didn't pay off. It was a scam. The whole thing collapsed. 5 years ago? Yes. And you've been hiding this from me for 5 years? I've been trying to fix it. I took out loans, tried to replace the money before you noticed, but the loans have interest and I can't keep up with the payments. I'm drowning, Natalie. I'm completely underwater. Why didn't you tell me? Because you're so good with money. You're so responsible. I was ashamed. I felt like such a failure. So instead of telling me, you let Bridget take over our lives? She found out. I don't know how, but she figured it out. Maybe she saw loan statements. Maybe Dylan heard me on the phone with creditors and told her. I don't know, but one day she showed up and said she knew about the debt, and she could help. Help how? Warren won't meet my eyes. She said she had experience with financial recovery. She said if I gave her access to our accounts, she could restructure everything, negotiate with creditors, protect our assets. So you gave her access to everything? She said she needed complete information to help. The household binder, the fire safe, all our account details. She said she could handle it discreetly, that you'd never have to know about my mistakes. I closed my eyes. Warren, do you understand what you've done? You gave a virtual stranger complete access to our financial lives because you were too ashamed to tell me the truth. She's not a stranger. She's been our friend for 8 years. And now she's using your shame and your debt to take control of everything. The power of attorney, the life insurance change, trying to make me look incompetent. This isn't help, Warren. This is exploitation. She said you'd react this way. She said you'd try to stop us from fixing things. From fixing things? Warren, someone forged my signature on legal documents. Someone locked me out of my bank accounts. This isn't fixing. This is stealing. Warren finally looks at me. What was I supposed to do? Tell you I lost $200,000 and destroyed our retirement? You'd have left me. So instead, you let someone destroy me? You let Bridget systematically take control of my life, forge my signature, try to have me declared incompetent? That was better? I didn't know she was doing those things. She said she was just organizing, helping us get paperwork in order. You were in that meeting when they tried to get me to sign the power of attorney. You saw my signature on documents I didn't sign. You knew, Warren. You might not have wanted to know, but you knew. He puts his head in his hands. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I didn't know how to stop it. Once it started, it just kept escalating. How much do you owe? I ask. The original debt was $200,000, with interest and penalties over 5 years. Probably close to $300,000 now. I feel sick. $300,000 in secret debt. Where did you get the loans? Private lenders, the kind that don't check credit scores too carefully and charge high interest. The kind that Bridget recommended? Warren's silence is answer enough. She set you up, I say quietly. She found out about your debt, offered to help, directed you to predatory lenders, and now she has you trapped, and she's using that trap to gain control of everything we have. She said she was helping. People who are helping don't forge signatures, Warren. People who are helping don't try to get you to change your life insurance beneficiary to them. People who are helping don't lock your wife out of her own bank accounts. Warren looks broken. What do? You come home. You tell me everything. Every loan, every creditor, every conversation with Bridget. You cooperate with my attorney, and you help me stop her before she takes everything. She's going to be angry. Let her be angry. She's committed multiple crimes. Being angry is the least of her problems. We sit in silence. I want to feel sorry for Warren, but I'm too angry. He put us in this position. He gave Bridget access to our lives because he was too ashamed to face his mistakes. One more question, I say. How did Bridget know about your debt in the first place? Warren shifts uncomfortably. I think she might have been going through our mail. Dylan and Owen were close. He was at our house all the time. I think maybe she was checking our mailbox when she picked him up. For how long? I don't know. Maybe a year before she approached me, maybe longer. So this wasn't opportunistic. This was planned, systematic. Bridget identified a vulnerable target, gathered information, waited for the right moment to strike, and then presented herself as the solution to a problem she helped create. Come home, I tell Warren. Tell me everything. We'll face this together. But Warren, if you side with her again, if you help her even one more time, I'm done. I'll protect myself and Owen, and you can drown in the debt you created. I understand. I hope you do. I stand up and walk out, leaving the latte untouched. I don't know if I can trust Warren anymore. But I know I can't fight Bridget and Warren at the same time. If Warren is really ready to tell the truth, if he's really ready to stop enabling Bridget, then maybe we can get through this. But if he's lying, if this is another manipulation, I need to be ready to cut him loose entirely. Felix texts me as I'm driving home. How did the meeting go? I voice text back. Warren confessed. Secret debt. Bridget's been planning this for years. He's coming home to tell me everything. I'll send you details tonight. Felix responds immediately. Document the conversation. Record if legal in your state. We need everything he knows about Bridget's operations. I look up Virginia recording laws on my phone at a stoplight. One-party consent state. I can record conversations I'm part of without telling the other person. When I get home, Warren is waiting in his car in the driveway. I let him in, the first time he's been inside since I changed the locks. We sit at the kitchen table and I pull out my phone. I'm recording this, I tell him. Everything you say, for my protection and for the legal case against Bridget. Okay, he says. That's fair. And then Warren tells me everything. Warren talks for 2 hours straight. I record everything, taking notes while he speaks, my anger building with every new revelation. The debt started 5 years ago with the cryptocurrency scam. Warren invested $200,000 from our retirement account without telling me. When it collapsed, he panicked. He couldn't tell me, couldn't face the shame of admitting he destroyed our future. That's when the private loans started. Bridget connected him with lenders, companies with names like Rapid Capital Solutions and Summit Financial Group. High-interest loans, sometimes 30% annual interest or more. Loans designed to trap people, not help them. She told me they were legitimate restructuring companies, Warren says. She said they specialized in helping people recover from bad investments discreetly. And you believed her? I wanted to believe her. I was desperate. Over 5 years, Warren took out 7 different loans from 5 different lenders, using our house as collateral without my knowledge. Each time he borrowed to pay off a previous loan, the debt grew larger. Now we owe $287,000 to various predatory lenders, and our house has multiple liens against it. How did you sign loan documents using the house as collateral without my signature? I ask. Warren's face goes red. Bridget said she could handle it. She said she knew someone who could prepare the documents properly. She forged my signature on loan documents. I didn't know for sure. I didn't ask questions. You knew, Warren. You might not have watched her do it, but you knew my signature had to be on those documents, and you knew I hadn't signed them. You chose not to know the details so you could pretend you weren't part of it. He doesn't argue because he can't. He's guilty, and we both know it. What was the end game? I ask. What was Bridget's plan? She said once she had power of attorney, she could reorganize everything, consolidate the debts, negotiate settlements, protect the house. She said it would take a few years, but we'd come out clean on the other side. And what did she want in return? Warren looks at the table. 15% of everything. She called it a recovery fee. 15% of what, everything? Our assets, the house, our savings, my retirement account, everything. I do the math quickly. Our house is worth about $450,000. Warren's retirement account, what's left of it, is maybe $100,000. My retirement account is $175,000. Together, call it $725,000. 15% is just over $100,000. She was going to take $100,000 to fix a problem she helped create by directing you to predatory lenders. When you say it like that, it sounds like fraud, like exploitation, like exactly what it is. Warren is quiet. Did you sign anything giving her that 15%? I ask. Not yet. She said we'd formalize it once the power of attorney was in place. Because she needed control first. Once she had power of attorney, she could write herself checks, transfer assets, do whatever she wanted. The 15% was probably just the start. She'd have bled us dry. My phone buzzes. A text from Bridget. Warren's making a mistake talking to you. He's going to regret breaking our agreement. I show Warren the text. What agreement? I signed a non-disclosure agreement when she first started helping. She said it was standard for financial consulting. I agreed not to discuss our arrangement with anyone, including you. Let me guess, if you violated the NDA, there were penalties? $100,000 in liquidated damages. So she trapped you legally. You couldn't tell me without owing her $100,000. Warren, everything she did was designed to isolate you, control you, and extract money from us. This was never about helping. This was always about stealing. Warren puts his head in his hands. I'm so stupid. I'm so incredibly stupid. Yes, you are. But stupid isn't the same as malicious. You made terrible choices, but Bridget is the criminal here. She found a vulnerable target, exploited him, and built a whole infrastructure to steal from us. What do we do now? Now you give me everything. Every loan document, every communication with Bridget, every piece of paper related to this mess. Then we take it all to Felix, and we build a case. She's going to fight back. Let her. The more she fights, the more evidence she creates. We spend the next 3 hours going through Warren's files. He's kept everything. Loan agreements, emails with Bridget, texts, bank statements. He's actually been documenting his own exploitation, probably out of anxiety and the need to keep track of the growing debt. It's all here. Proof that Bridget directed him to specific lenders. Proof that she received referral fees from those lenders. Kickbacks for bringing them business. Proof that she forged signatures on documents. Proof of everything. Why did you keep all this, I ask? Because part of me knew something was wrong. Part of me knew I'd need evidence someday. That part of you might have saved us. At 11 p.m., we're still working through documents when my phone buzzes. Another text from Bridget. Last chance, Warren. Come back now, and we can still fix this. Stay with her, and you'll lose everything. I'll make sure of it. Warren reads the text over my shoulder. She's threatening us. She's been threatening us all along. We're just recognizing it now. I screenshot the text and add it to my evidence folder. Then I text back. This is Natalie. Warren has told me everything. We know about the loans, the kickbacks, the forgery, all of it. Your scheme is over. 3 dots appear immediately, then disappear, then appear again. Finally, you have no idea what you've done. You're going to regret this. I show the text to Warren. Is that a threat? That's definitely a threat. I call Felix, even though it's late. He answers on the second ring. Natalie, what's wrong? Bridget is threatening us. Warren told me everything. I have hours of recorded confession, documents proving the fraud, but she's escalating. Send me everything tonight. I'll review it first thing in the morning. In the meantime, document every threat, every message, every contact. If she shows up at your house, call the police immediately. Will they take it seriously? Financial exploitation is a crime. Threatening a victim is a crime. Yes, they'll take it seriously. After we hang up, I spend another hour uploading documents to a secure folder Felix can access. Every loan agreement, every email, every text. The recording of Warren's confession, everything. Warren watches me work. I'm sorry, he says for the dozenth time. I know, but sorry doesn't fix this. Action fixes this. You help me stop her. You cooperate completely with Felix. You testify if we need you to. That's how you make this right. I will. I promise. Whatever it takes. Good. Because Bridget is about to find out what happens when you try to steal from someone who documents everything. We finally go to bed at 1 in the morning. Warren sleeps in the guest room. I'm not ready to share a bed with him yet. But he's in the house, he's cooperating, and that's something. I lie awake thinking about Bridget. She's been in our lives for 8 years. 8 years of building trust, gathering information, waiting for the right vulnerability to exploit. This wasn't opportunistic. This was predatory. How many other families has she done this to? Warren mentioned she has experience with financial recovery. Where did that experience come from? How many other Warrens are out there, trapped in debt, too ashamed to ask for help, being slowly bled dry by a woman who presents herself as a friend? My phone buzzes one more time. Another text from Bridget. You think you're protecting yourself, but you've just declared war, and I always win. I screenshot it, save it, and turn off my phone. Tomorrow we go on the offensive. Tonight, I need sleep. But her words echo in my mind. I always win. Not this time, I think. Not with me. Felix calls at 7 in the morning. I'm already awake, having barely slept. I've reviewed everything you said, he says. Natalie, this is extensive, well-documented fraud. Bridget Hayes has committed multiple felonies. The forged signatures, the loan fraud, the kickbacks from predatory lenders. This is serious criminal activity. What do? We go to the authorities, but not just the police, the FBI. This crosses state lines. Some of these lenders are in other states, which makes it federal wire fraud. The FBI has a financial crimes unit that handles exactly this kind of case. How long will that take? Months, probably. Federal investigations move slowly. But in the meantime, we can get a restraining order against Bridget, freeze any assets she's tried to take, and start unwinding the fraudulent loans. The loans are fraudulent? The ones with your forged signature? Absolutely. Banks can't enforce loans obtained through fraud. We'll need to prove the signatures are forged, but you've already started that process with the police. Once we have forensic confirmation, those loans become void. What about the money Warren actually borrowed? That's legitimate debt, foolish debt, predatory debt, but legitimate. You'll still owe it, but we can negotiate with lenders, possibly settle for less than the full amount, restructure payment terms. It won't be pleasant, but it's manageable. And Bridget is going to prison if we do this right. The words should feel satisfying, but they just feel sad. 8 years of friendship, of trust, of letting someone into our lives, and it was all a setup for this. Do it, I say. File everything. I want her stopped before she does this to someone else. Warren drives me to Felix's office. He's quiet in the car, probably processing the reality that his attempt to hide his mistakes led to all of this. At Felix's office, we spend 4 hours going through everything again. This time with Felix taking detailed notes and preparing legal filings. He's methodical, organized, asking questions that force Warren to remember details he'd rather forget. Did Bridget ever mention other clients? Felix asks. She said she'd helped several families restructure their finances, Warren says. She made it sound professional, legitimate. Did she give names? No. She said it was confidential. Felix makes a note. We need to find those families. If there's a pattern of behavior, it strengthens the case significantly. How do we find them? I ask. Public records, court filings. If she's done this before, there might be lawsuits, complaints, criminal charges. I'll hire an investigator to look into her background. After the meeting, Warren and I sit in the car in the parking lot. Neither of us wants to go home. Home feels contaminated now, filled with memories of Bridget sitting at our table, holding Owen as a baby, laughing at our jokes while planning how to rob us. Did you mean it? Warren asks. About giving me a chance to make this right? I meant it. But Warren, trust is like a vase. Once it's broken, you can glue it back together, but it's never the same. There will always be cracks. I'll always wonder if you're hiding something else. That's the cost of your choices. I know. And if you ever lie to me again about anything, I'm done. I'll take Owen, I'll take half of whatever's left, and you'll never see me except through lawyers. Do you understand? I understand. Good, because I'm giving you one chance. Just one. We drive home in silence. When we pull into the driveway, Kara is standing in her yard. She waves us over. Natalie, I need to tell you something, she says. Her voice is low, urgent. Yesterday afternoon, Bridget was here. She was taking photos of your house. Front, back, sides. She spent maybe 20 minutes just photographing everything. My stomach drops. Why would she do that? I don't know, but it felt wrong, so I took photos of her doing it. She pulls out her phone and shows me. There's Bridget, standing in our yard with her phone, clearly photographing our house. Can you send me those? I ask. Already did. I sent them to your email just now. I hug Kara. Thank you. You might have just given us important evidence. What's going on, Natalie? Should I be worried? It's complicated, but we're handling it. Just, if you see Bridget around here again, call the police, okay? Of course. Inside, I forward Kara's photos to Felix with a note. Bridget was photographing our house yesterday. Why? He calls back immediately. She's building a case. My guess? She's documenting your assets, preparing to claim you owe her money or that she has some right to your property. Did you or Warren sign anything giving her an interest in the house? No, Warren says. He's on speakerphone. She kept trying to get us to sign things, but we never did. Good. That's very good. But her photographing your property is concerning. She's escalating, which means she feels threatened. When people feel threatened, they do desperate things. What kind of desperate things? I ask. Filing false claims, making accusations, trying to damage your reputation or credibility. You need to be prepared for her to fight dirty. Dirtier than forging signatures and stealing our money? Much dirtier. Financial crimes are one thing. Personal attacks are another. She might go after your employment, your relationships, your reputation. Anything to make you look unstable or incompetent. She already tried that with the power of attorney. She'll try again, document everything. Record every interaction, build an unassailable record of your competence and her criminality. After we hang up, I sit at the kitchen table and look at the photos of Bridget photographing our house. She looks calm, methodical, not panicked, not desperate, just working. Like this is a job she's done before. Warren, I say slowly, when Bridget first approached you about helping with the debt, did she say how she found out? She said Dylan overheard me on the phone with a creditor. Did Dylan ever confirm that? Warren thinks. No, I never asked him. Dylan is 18 now. He's at college. We should talk to him. About what? About what his mother has been doing, about whether he knows anything. If Bridget has done this before, Dylan might have seen things, heard things. He might not even realize what he knows. He's not gonna talk to us. He's loyal to his mother. Maybe, but he's also a good kid, and if he knows his mother is committing crimes, he might want to do the right thing. Warren looks doubtful, but he texts Dylan anyway. Can we talk? It's important, not about you, about your mom and something we need to understand. Dylan responds within minutes. Is she in trouble? Warren types, we're trying to figure that out. Can we meet? 3 dots appear, then disappear. Then, tomorrow, coffee shop near campus, 10 a.m. Warren shows me the text. He knows something. He definitely knows something. Question is whether he'll tell us. That night, I can't sleep again. I keep thinking about Bridget, about 8 years of friendship that was really 8 years of reconnaissance. Every holiday dinner, every birthday party, every casual conversation, was she always watching, always calculating, always planning? I remember the time she helped me organize Owen's college application materials. She spent hours in my home office, going through files, creating systems. At the time, I thought she was being helpful. Now I realize she was cataloging our assets, learning our financial situation, identifying vulnerabilities. I remember when Warren's father died 3 years ago, and Bridget brought meals, helped with funeral arrangements, sat with us during the worst days. I thought she was being a good friend. Was she just cementing her position in our lives? Building trust she could later exploit? Every memory is poisoned now. Every kindness reinterpreted as manipulation. My phone buzzes, a text from an unknown number. You're making a mistake. Drop this now, and I'll forgive the debt. Keep going, and I'll destroy you. I screenshot it and send it to Felix, even though it's midnight. He responds immediately. She's panicking. Good. Keep all threats. We'll add them to the restraining order petition. I text back. How can she be panicking and still sound so confident? Predators are good at projecting confidence, even when they're desperate. Don't let it intimidate you. You have evidence. She has threats. Evidence always wins. I want to believe him. But as I lie in bed, staring at the ceiling, I can't shake the feeling that this is about to get much worse before it gets better. And I'm right. We meet Dylan at a coffee shop near his college campus. He looks nervous, checking his phone constantly, watching the door like he's expecting his mother to walk in. She doesn't know I'm meeting you, he says immediately. She thinks I'm in class. What would happen if she knew? I ask. Dylan laughs, but there's no humor in it. She'd lose her mind. She's been telling me you guys are trying to ruin her, that you're lying about her, that I need to have her back. Is that what you think? Warren asks. I don't know what to think. Dylan looks at both of us. But I know my mom, and I know when she's in her project mode, things get intense. When she gets focused on something or someone, she doesn't stop until she wins. Project mode? I ask carefully. Dylan shifts uncomfortably. It's what I call it. She finds someone who needs help, someone vulnerable, and she kind of takes over their life. She did it with Mrs. Patterson when her husband died. She did it with Mr. Rodriguez when he had the heart attack. She positions herself as indispensable, then slowly takes control of their finances, their decisions, everything. Warren and I exchange looks. What happened to Mrs. Patterson and Mr. Rodriguez? Mrs. Patterson sold her house and moved to Florida. Mom said it was the best thing for her, but Mrs. Patterson's daughter said Mom pressured her into it. Mr. Rodriguez, I'm not sure. He moved away suddenly. His kids were really angry at Mom for some reason. Dylan, I say gently, your mother tried to get me to sign a power of attorney that would give her control of our finances. Someone forged my signature on loan documents. Do you know anything about that? Dylan goes very still. He stares at his coffee cup. Dylan? Warren prompts. I think my mom might have done something like that before, he says quietly. With Mr. Rodriguez. I saw papers in her office with his name on them. She said he'd asked her to handle some things for him, but the signature looked weird. I asked her about it, and she got really angry. Told me to stay out of her business. Do you still have those papers? No, she shredded them after Mr. Rodriguez moved away. Did you ever see her practice signatures? I ask. Dylan's face tells me the answer before he speaks. Sometimes. When I was younger, like in middle school, I'd see her with papers, tracing signatures over and over. She said she was doing calligraphy practice, but looking back, he trails off. Looking back, you think she was practicing forgery. I finish. I don't want to believe that. She's my mom. But yeah, I think maybe that's what she was doing. We talk for another 30 minutes. Dylan tells us about other families his mother helped, at least 4 others that he knows about. In each case, the pattern was similar. Find someone vulnerable, offer to help, slowly take control, and then the person either moves away suddenly or there's some kind of family conflict. Has your mom ever mentioned what she gets from helping people? I ask. She calls it consulting fees. She says she's a financial consultant, that it's her job. But she doesn't have an office or business cards or anything official. It's all word of mouth, all informal. Dylan, would you be willing to talk to our attorney? Warren asks. To tell him what you just told us? Dylan looks terrified. I can't testify against my mom. We're not asking you to testify, just to give background information that helps establish a pattern. She'll know. Somehow she'll find out, and she'll... He stops. She'll what? I ask gently. She'll cut me off. Financially, emotionally, everything. She's done it before. When I told my guidance counselor I was worried about her stress level, she didn't talk to me for 2 months. I had to apologize and promise never to discuss our family with outsiders again. Dylan, that's not normal, I say. Healthy parents don't punish their kids for expressing concern. I know. I've been in therapy for a year trying to deal with it, but she's still my mom, and she's paying for college, and I can't just... We understand, Warren says. You don't have to decide right now. Just think about it. And Dylan, if you remember anything else, anything that might help us understand what your mom has been doing, please tell us. Dylan nods. He looks relieved that we're not pushing harder. After he leaves, Warren and I sit in the coffee shop. 4 other families, I say, at least 4, that we know about. And they all ended the same way, the victim either moving away or having a family conflict. She's done this before, multiple times. This is what she does. Warren's phone buzzes. He looks at it and goes pale. What? I ask. He shows me the screen. An email from a law firm I don't recognize, regarding emergency guardianship petition for Natalie Foster. I grab the phone and read the email. It's from an attorney named Carl Hampton, informing Warren that his wife, Natalie Foster, is the subject of an emergency guardianship petition filed by Bridget Hayes, who claims to be acting in Natalie's best interests due to concerns about her mental health and decision-making capacity. The hearing is scheduled for next week. She's actually doing it, I say. My voice sounds strange, distant. She's trying to have me declared incompetent. Can she do that? Warren asks. I'm already calling Felix. He answers immediately. Felix, Bridget just filed for emergency guardianship. The hearing is next week. Forward me the email. I'll respond immediately. Natalie, this is what I warned you about. She's going nuclear. But it's also good for us. It's another crime. You don't file false guardianship petitions. It's abusive process. But I have to defend myself in court. I have to prove I'm competent. You'll prove it easily. You're employed, you're managing your household. You're coherent and rational. We have letters from your doctor and your employer. We have evidence that Bridget is the one committing crimes, not you. The judge will see through this immediately. But the process itself, the process is traumatic. I know. That's why she's doing it. She's trying to overwhelm you, make you give up. Don't. Stay focused. Document everything. We're going to defeat this petition and use it as more evidence of her malicious intent. After we hang up, I sit in the coffee shop feeling like the ground has disappeared beneath me. A woman I trusted, a woman I welcomed into my home, is trying to have me declared mentally incompetent. She's asking a court to strip me of my rights, to put her in charge of my life. We should go home, Warren says quietly. I don't want to go home. Home doesn't feel safe anymore. She's probably still watching the house, taking photos, building her case. Then where? A hotel. Just for tonight? I need to be somewhere she can't find me, can't watch me, can't get to me. We check into a hotel near the highway. It's anonymous, generic, exactly what I need. That night, lying in a hotel bed with Warren in the other bed, I finally let myself cry. Not quietly, not holding back. I sob until my chest hurts, mourning the friendship that never was, the trust that was always false, the life that's been turned upside down. Warren doesn't try to comfort me. He just lets me cry. Maybe he understands that some pain can't be comforted, only endured. When I finally stop crying, he says, I'm sorry for all of this, for being weak, for putting us in this position. I know, I say, but sorry isn't enough. You have to help me fight her. You have to testify about everything she did, everything she said, everything you know. You have to stop protecting her. I will, I promise. Good, because next week I'm going into court to prove I'm not crazy, and I need you to stand up and tell the truth about who really is. Felix works fast. Within 2 days, he's filed a response to Bridget's guardianship petition. He sends me a copy. It's devastating. It lays out everything: the forged signatures, the fraudulent loans, the predatory lending scheme, the threats, the pattern of behavior with other families. It asks the court to not only deny the petition, but to sanction Bridget for abusive process and to refer the matter for criminal investigation. It's aggressive, Felix says when I call him, but we need to be. She's trying to destroy your reputation. We're going to show the court who she really is. The next few days are a blur of preparation. I meet with my doctor, who writes a detailed letter confirming my mental and physical health. I get a statement from my supervisor confirming my excellent work performance. I gather bank statements showing I manage my finances responsibly. I compile evidence of my competence, recent work projects, volunteer activities, Owen's college applications that I organized. You're building a fortress, Felix says. By the time we're done, the judge will wonder how anyone could question your competence. Warren helps. He writes a statement explaining how Bridget manipulated him, how she exploited his shame about the debt, how she systematically worked to isolate him from me. It's painful to read, not because it makes him look good, but because it makes him look weak and foolish. But it's honest, and honesty is what we need now. Owen calls from college. Warren must have told him what's happening. Mom, are you okay? He asks. His voice is tight with worry. I'm handling it, honey. Dylan texted me. He said his mom is saying crazy things about you. He said she's trying to make everyone think you're losing your mind. Dylan knows the truth. Do you believe him or his mother? I believe you, Mom. You're the sanest person I know. If anyone's crazy, it's her for thinking she could do this to our family. The loyalty in his voice makes me want to cry. Thank you, baby. Do you need me to come home? I can miss class. I can be there for the hearing. No, stay at school. Focus on your studies. I have a good lawyer. I have evidence. I'm going to be fine. Promise? Promise. After we hang up, I think about how this is affecting Owen. He's 18, supposed to be enjoying his first year of college, and instead he's worrying about his mother being declared incompetent by a woman he's known his whole life. That night, I get another threatening text from an unknown number. You think you're winning, but you don't understand what you're up against. I've done this before, and I've never lost. Drop the case, or I'll make sure everyone knows what kind of person you really are. I screenshot it and send it to Felix. He responds, she's getting sloppy. These threats are evidence. Save everything. But the threats are taking a toll. I'm sleeping badly. I'm jumping at every noise. I'm constantly checking over my shoulder, wondering if Bridget is watching, planning, preparing her next move. Kara texts me, Bridget was here again today. She tried to talk to me about you, asking if I'd noticed you acting strange lately. I told her to leave, but she's trying to build a case against you with the neighbors. I call Kara immediately. What exactly did she say? She asked if I'd noticed you forgetting things, acting paranoid, making irrational decisions. She said she was worried about you, that Warren was worried, that she was trying to help, but you were resistant. I told her I've never seen you act anything but completely normal and rational. Thank you. Natalie, I need to tell you something else. She asked about your work schedule. your routines, when you're home and when you're not. It felt like she was gathering information. She probably is. She's trying to find vulnerabilities, opportunities. Should I call the police? Not yet, but document every interaction. If she comes back, record it if you can. The hearing is on Thursday. By Wednesday night, I'm so anxious I can barely eat. Felix has prepared me for what to expect. Bridget will present her case first, arguing that I'm incompetent. Then we'll present our defense. The judge will likely ask me questions directly. Be yourself, Felix tells me. Calm, rational, articulate. You're a professional woman managing a household, a career, and a crisis. Show the judge that person. What if she has evidence I don't know about? What if she's manufactured something? Then we challenge it. But, Natalie, you've documented everything. You've been meticulous. There's no way she can present a credible case that you're incompetent. This is a desperate move, and desperate moves usually fail. Thursday morning, I dress carefully. Professional but not too formal. I want to look competent together, exactly like someone who doesn't need a guardian. Warren drives me to the courthouse. He's testifying for me, explaining how Bridget manipulated him, how none of my behavior suggested incompetence. I'm nervous, I admit. Don't be. You're brilliant, capable, and sane. The judge will see that within 5 minutes. The courtroom is smaller than I expected. The judge, the Honorable Patricia Morrison, is a woman in her 60s with sharp eyes and no-nonsense demeanor. She's known for being tough on fraud and abusive process. Felix says that's good for us. Bridget is already there with her attorney, Carl Hampton. She's dressed in soft colors, pastels that make her look gentle, caring, concerned. It's a costume, and it's effective. She looks like someone who genuinely cares, who's worried about a friend. I want to scream at her. I want to stand up and tell everyone what she really is. But Felix's hand on my arm steadies me. Let her go first, he whispers. Let her build her case. Then we'll destroy it. Carl Hampton stands up. Your Honor, we're here because of concerns about Mrs. Foster's mental capacity and decision-making. Over the past several weeks, she's exhibited increasingly erratic behavior, changing locks to keep her husband out, making false accusations against my client, filing unnecessary police reports, acting paranoid and delusional. He goes on like that for 10 minutes, painting a picture of a woman spiraling out of control. He presents documents, the police report I filed, the bank fraud case, the new locks. He makes them all sound like the actions of someone unhinged rather than someone protecting herself. Then Bridget testifies. She's good. She's very good. She talks about how worried she's been about me, how she tried to help by organizing household paperwork, how I reacted with irrational hostility. She mentions my cancer treatment from 3 years ago, suggesting it might have had cognitive effects. She talks about the dentist appointment I forgot, about how I've seemed stressed and overwhelmed. I'm not trying to hurt Natalie, she says, her voice trembling with emotion. She's my friend. I just want her to get the help she needs before she hurts herself or makes decisions that can't be undone. It's a masterful performance. If I didn't know the truth, I might believe her. Then it's Felix's turn. Your Honor, he begins, what we have here is not a concerned friend trying to help. What we have is a predator who has been caught and is now using the legal system to further victimize her target. He lays it out methodically. The forged signatures, the fraudulent loans, the kickbacks from predatory lenders, the pattern of behavior with other families. Dylan's testimony, he agreed to provide a written statement after all. The threats, the attempts to take control of our finances, everything. Miss Hayes has committed multiple felonies, Felix says. And when Mrs. Foster discovered this and began protecting herself, Miss Hayes filed this guardianship petition in retaliation. This is not about Mrs. Foster's competence. This is about silencing a victim who has evidence of crimes. Judge Morrison leans forward. Miss Hayes, did you forge Mrs. Foster's signature on loan documents? Bridget looks shocked. Of course not, Your Honor. I would never, Felix interrupts. Your Honor, we have forensic analysis of the signatures. They conclusively show that Mrs. Foster did not sign those documents. We also have testimony from Miss Hayes' own son, confirming that he has witnessed his mother practicing forged signatures. Bridget's face goes white. Dylan wouldn't. He's confused. He's been under a lot of stress. Miss Hayes, Judge Morrison's voice is sharp. You will wait until you're asked a question before speaking. Mr. Brennan, continue. Felix calls Warren to testify. Warren explains everything, the debt, the shame, how Bridget exploited it. He's nervous but honest. He admits his own wrongdoing, which makes his testimony more credible. Then Felix calls me. I walk to the stand with my heart pounding, but once I sit down, a strange calm comes over me. I know who I am. I know the truth. All I have to do is tell it. Felix asks me about my job, my responsibilities, my daily life. I answer clearly, confidently. I explain how I discovered Bridget in my kitchen, how I found my household binder missing, how I was locked out of my bank accounts. How did you respond to these discoveries? Felix asks. I documented everything. I contacted my bank and filed a fraud report. I hired an attorney. I took legal steps to protect myself and my assets. I did exactly what any rational person would do in discovering they're being exploited. And the locks. Why did you change them? Because my husband was actively helping someone commit fraud against me. I needed to secure my home until I understood the extent of the problem. Judge Morrison asks me questions directly, about my work, about my health, about my decision-making process. I answer everything calmly, rationally, providing examples and evidence. After 30 minutes, Judge Morrison leans back. I've heard enough, she says. Ms. Hayes, your petition is denied. Furthermore, I'm sanctioning you for abuse of process. This guardianship petition was not filed in good faith. It was filed as retaliation against someone who discovered your alleged criminal activity. I'm referring this matter to the District Attorney's Office for investigation of the fraud and forgery allegations. You're lucky I'm not holding you in contempt. Bridget stands up. Your Honor, you don't understand. Sit down, Ms. Hayes. You're done speaking in my courtroom. Judge Morrison looks at me. Mrs. Foster, you've handled this situation with remarkable composure and intelligence. I see no evidence whatsoever that you need a guardian. What I do see is evidence that you were being exploited and that you protected yourself appropriately. The petition is denied with prejudice, meaning Ms. Hayes cannot refile. Relief floods through me so strongly I almost can't stand. Thank you, Your Honor, Felix says. Mr. Brennan, make sure Mrs. Foster files for a restraining order against Ms. Hayes. And Mrs. Foster? Consider a civil lawsuit. Ms. Hayes needs to face consequences for what she's done. As we walk out of the courtroom, Bridget tries to approach me. Felix steps between us. Don't, he says quietly, not another word. Bridget's mask finally cracks. This isn't over, she hisses at me. You think you won? You ruined everything. Everything I worked for. You're going to regret this. Miss Hayes, Judge Morrison's voice comes from behind us. She's still in the courtroom doorway. One more threat, and I will hold you in contempt. Leave, now. Bridget glares at me one more time, then walks away with her attorney. Warren wraps his arms around me in the courthouse hallway. I let him hold me, even though part of me is still angry at him for putting us in this position. It's over, he says. But it's not over. I know it's not over. Bridget lost this battle. But people like her don't give up easily. They just change tactics. Let's go home, I say. Home. Where this all started. Where I walked in to find her in my kitchen, holding my house key, smiling like she owned the place. She doesn't own anything anymore. And I'm going to make sure she never does this to anyone else. The restraining order hearing is scheduled for the following week. In the meantime, Bridget is supposed to stay at least 500 feet away from me, our house, and my workplace. But staying away isn't the same as stopping. 3 days after the guardianship hearing, I get a certified letter at work. It's from Carl Hampton, Bridget's attorney. Inside is a document labeled Settlement Agreement and Release. I don't even read it before forwarding it to Felix. He calls within minutes. Don't sign this, he says. This is another trap. What does it say? It says that in exchange for Bridget dropping all claims against you, which she has no legal basis for anyway, you agree to drop all claims against her, pay her $50,000 in consulting fees, and sign a non-disclosure agreement preventing you from discussing anything that happened. She wants me to pay her? After everything she did? She wants you to pay her to go away quietly, and she wants to make sure you can't tell anyone what she did. Natalie, this is what predators do when they're cornered. They try to extract whatever they can on their way out. I'm not signing it. Good. I'll respond that any further communications should go through me, and that we're preparing a civil lawsuit for fraud, conversion, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. How much can we sue for? Actual damages, the cost of the loans, the legal fees, the harm to your credit, punitive damages, which could be substantial given the intentional nature of her conduct. I'd estimate we could seek $500,000 to $1 million. The number is staggering. Will we actually get that? That depends on what assets she has. But even if we don't collect the full amount, we'll have a judgment against her that follows her forever. She'll never be able to do this to anyone else without that judgment hanging over her head. That evening, I get a voicemail from my mother-in-law, Warren's mother Helen. She's crying. "Natalie, honey, I just heard what's been happening. Warren told me everything. I'm so sorry. I feel like I should have seen this coming. Bridget always seemed so helpful, but there was something about her that made me uncomfortable. I should have said something. I should have warned you. I call her back. Helen, you didn't know. None of us did. But I had a feeling. You know how sometimes you just get a feeling about someone? I had that with Bridget. She was always just a little too interested in your lives, a little too helpful. It felt excessive. Why didn't you say anything? Because I thought I was being paranoid. Because she seemed like such a good friend to you. Because I didn't want to create problems where there weren't any. But I should have trusted my instincts. It's not your fault. She's very good at what she does. She's probably been doing it for years. Warren told me about Dylan's statement, about the other families. This woman is a monster. She's a criminal, and we're going to make sure she faces consequences. Helen is quiet for a moment. Natalie, if you loved Warren, you'd just let this go. You'd let Bridget disappear and rebuild your marriage without all this legal drama. The words stopped me cold. What did you just say? I just mean, Warren made mistakes, but he's trying to fix them. All this legal action against Bridget is just keeping the drama alive. If you really loved him, you'd move on. I realize what's happening. Did Bridget talk to you? She called me yesterday. She said she was worried about you, that you were obsessing over her, that it was damaging your marriage. She seemed so concerned, so genuine. Helen, Bridget is a criminal who forged my signature, stole our money, and tried to have me declared incompetent. Anything she told you is a lie designed to manipulate you into pressuring me to drop the case. But she said, I don't care what she said. She's lying. She's been lying this entire time. That's what she does. She finds vulnerable people. She builds trust, and then she exploits them. She's exploiting you right now by playing on your love for Warren and your desire to see our marriage heal. Helen is silent. Did she ask you to call me? I ask. She said it might help if someone Warren respects talked to you. Someone who could help you see that you're making this harder than it needs to be. There it is. She's using you to get to me. Helen, I need you to block her number. Don't talk to her again. Anything she tells you is manipulation. I feel so stupid. Don't. She's very, very good at this. But now you know. If she contacts you again, tell Felix immediately. After we hang up, I text Felix. Bridget is contacting Warren's family, trying to use them to pressure me into dropping the case. Felix responds, document everything. Save the voicemail from your mother-in-law. This shows consciousness of guilt and obstruction. We'll add it to the civil complaint. I sit in my living room, surrounded by documents and evidence, and I think about Bridget's reach. She's not just attacking me directly. She's attacking through my family, my relationships, trying to isolate me, trying to make me seem like the unreasonable one. It's insidious. It's effective. And if I weren't documenting everything, if I weren't working with a good attorney, it might work. My phone buzzes. A text from Warren. Mom called me crying, said you accused her of siding with Bridget. What's going on? I call him instead of texting. Bridget called your mother and convinced her to pressure me into dropping the case. She's using your family as weapons against me. That's really manipulative. That's what she does, Warren. She finds leverage and she uses it. Your shame about the debt was leverage. Your mother's love for you is leverage. She'll use anyone and anything to get what she wants. What do? We tell your family the truth. All of it. We show them the evidence. We make sure they understand who Bridget really is, so she can't use them again. My parents are going to be so disappointed in me. They're going to be disappointed that you made bad choices, but they're going to be proud that you're facing them now, that you're helping stop someone from doing this to other families. Redemption comes from action, not from hiding. Warren is quiet for a long time. You're right. I'll talk to them tomorrow. I'll tell them everything. Good. Because we can't fight Bridget and protect her at the same time. Everyone needs to know the truth. That night, I barely sleep. I keep thinking about Helen's words. If you loved Warren, you'd just let this go. It's the same manipulation Bridget tried in the beginning, making my protection of myself sound like betrayal of Warren, making my boundaries sound like punishment, making my refusal to be exploited sound like lack of love. But love doesn't require surrender. Love doesn't mean letting someone steal from you because confronting them would be dramatic. Love doesn't mean protecting criminals to avoid discomfort. Real love is truth. Real love is accountability. Real love is saying, this is wrong and I won't enable it anymore. I text Felix at 3 a.m. I'm ready to file the civil lawsuit. Let's do it. He responds immediately. Apparently I'm not the only one not sleeping. I'll have the complaint ready by end of week. Get ready. Once we file, Bridget is going to escalate again. They always do when you hit them in the wallet. I lie awake until dawn, preparing myself for whatever comes next. Because Felix is right. Bridget lost the guardianship case. She failed to manipulate Helen into pressuring me. She's running out of options, and people without options do desperate things. I'm sitting in my car outside my house at 10 p.m., hands shaking, phone in my lap with Bridget's latest text on the screen. Last chance, $50K and an NDA, or I go nuclear. You have 24 hours. I came home from work, saw this text, and couldn't make myself go inside. I've been sitting here for an hour just staring at my front door thinking, part of me wants to pay her $50,000 to make this stop, to make her go away, to have peace again. I could take it from my retirement account. I could have my life back. But another part of me knows, paying her won't make it stop. It'll just show her I can be pressured. She'll come back in 6 months, a year, 2 years. She'll always come back, because I'll have shown her that threatening me works. And more than that, paying her means letting her get away with it. Means she'll do this to another family, another Warren, another vulnerable person who trusts the wrong friend. My phone rings. It's Felix. Where are you? He asks. I've been trying to reach you for an hour. Sitting in my car outside my house. I can't make myself go inside. What happened? Nothing specific. I'm just tired. So tired of fighting. Tired of documenting everything. Tired of being on guard. Tired of wondering what she's going to do next. I almost want to just pay her the $50,000 and make it stop. Natalie, that's exactly what she wants. She's worn you down deliberately. This is part of her strategy. Make the fight so exhausting that giving in seems easier. It does seem easier, but it's not. You know it's not. In 6 months, she'll be back. In a year, she'll find another way to exploit you. People like Bridget don't stop. They just pause. I lean my head against the steering wheel. I know you're right, but Felix, I'm so tired. I know, but you're also strong, stronger than she thought you'd be. That's why she's panicking, why she's making threats, why she's trying to get you to give up, because you've already won. You just have to hold on long enough to see it. Have I won? Yes. The guardianship petition was denied with prejudice. The judge referred her for criminal investigation. We have documented evidence of multiple felonies. We're about to file a civil lawsuit that will financially devastate her. You've won every battle so far. Don't give up before the war is over. I sit up straighter. You're right. You're absolutely right. I didn't come this far to cave now. That's my client. Now go inside, get some rest, and tomorrow we file the complaint that ends this. I end the call and sit in my car for another few minutes, but this time I'm not paralyzed. I'm gathering my strength, making a decision. Love doesn't require surrender, and neither does survival. I text Bridget back. No. Take your threats to my attorney. I'm done negotiating with criminals. I turn off my phone before she can respond and go inside. Warren is in the kitchen cleaning up after dinner. You okay? He asks. No, but I will be. We're filing the lawsuit tomorrow. Good. Let's finish this. That night I sleep better than I have in weeks. Not because the threat is gone, but because I've made my choice. I'm fighting. No matter what it costs, no matter how long it takes, I'm fighting. In the morning, Felix sends me the complaint. It's 43 pages of detailed allegations, documented evidence, and legal claims. Fraud, conversion, forgery, intentional infliction of emotional distress, civil conspiracy, unjust enrichment. We're seeking $850,000 in damages, the amount of the predatory loans plus interest, legal fees, emotional distress damages, and punitive damages to deter future conduct. It's aggressive, Felix says when I call him, but it needs to be. We're not just seeking compensation, we're sending a message. Prey on vulnerable people and you'll lose everything. When do we file? Today, within the hour. Once it's filed, it becomes public record. Anyone can read it. Bridget's scheme will be documented for the world to see. Good. Let everyone see what she is. Felix files the complaint at 11 a.m. By noon, my phone is buzzing with texts from people who've seen it. Friends asking if I'm okay. Neighbors expressing shock. People I haven't heard from in years reaching out to offer support. And one text from Dylan. I saw the lawsuit. Thank you for doing this. My mom has hurt a lot of people. Someone needed to stop her. I'm sorry it had to be you. I text back, you're not responsible for your mother's choices, but thank you for being brave enough to tell the truth. At 2 p.m., Bridget's response comes, not through her attorney, not through legal channels, but through a phone call to my workplace. My supervisor knocks on my office door. Natalie, there's someone on the phone for you, a Bridget Hayes. She says it's urgent. Tell her to call my attorney. I did. She said she needs to speak to you directly about something that affects your employment. My stomach drops. I'll take it. I pick up the phone, and Bridget's voice is cold, measured, completely different from the friendly tone I used to know. You made a mistake filing that lawsuit, she says. You're going to regret it. Is that a threat? It's a fact. You think you're so smart documenting everything, building your case. But you forgot something important. I know where all your bodies are buried too. I don't have any bodies buried. Everyone has secrets, Natalie. Everyone has things they don't want people to know. And I've been in your life for 8 years. I've seen things, heard things, learned things. You really want all of that to come out in Discovery? I have nothing to hide. We'll see, you just declared war, and I don't lose wars. She hangs up. I sit at my desk, my heart pounding. What does she think she knows? What secrets does she think I have? I call Felix immediately. Bridget just called my work and threatened me. She said she has secrets about me that will come out in Discovery. Does she? I don't have any secrets. I've lived a completely normal, boring life. Then she's bluffing, trying to scare you. Don't fall for it. What if she makes something up? What if she manufactures evidence? Then we challenge it. Natalie, people who are winning don't threaten. People who are losing do. She's scared. She's desperate. She's trying to intimidate you into dropping the lawsuit. Don't give her what she wants. Okay, I won't. But after we hang up, I sit at my desk wondering, what does Bridget think she knows? And what is she planning to do with it? Felix requests financial disclosures from Bridget as part of the discovery process, her bank records, tax returns, asset information. Standard procedure in a civil lawsuit. We need to know what she has, so we know what we can collect if we win. Her attorney responds within 2 days. Request denied. Financial information is irrelevant to the claims alleged. Felix calls me immediately. She's refusing to provide financial disclosures. Can she do that? Not legally. But she's doing it anyway, which tells us something important. She's hiding assets. People only refuse discovery when they have something to hide. What do? We file a motion to compel. The judge will order her to provide the information. If she still refuses, she'll be in contempt. And if she's found in contempt, fines, potentially jail time. And the court can issue sanctions that hurt her case, like striking her defenses or entering default judgment against her. So her refusal actually helps us? Absolutely. It's a gift. She's making herself look guilty by hiding information. Felix files the motion to compel. While we wait for the hearing, strange things start happening. My credit card gets denied at the grocery store. I call the bank. They say suspicious activity was reported on my account, and it's been frozen pending investigation. What suspicious activity? I ask. Large purchases in multiple states. Someone reported potential fraud. Who reported it? The report was made anonymously through our fraud hotline. I know immediately. Bridget. She's calling in false fraud reports to harass me. 2 days later, my car insurance sends a letter saying they're investigating a claim filed against my policy. Someone reported that I was involved in a hit-and-run accident last month. I wasn't. I have dashcam footage proving I was nowhere near the location of the alleged accident. But I have to spend hours on the phone with insurance investigators, providing evidence, defending myself against false accusations. Then, my employer's HR department calls me in for a meeting. Someone submitted an anonymous complaint alleging that I've been stealing from the company small amounts over several months from petty cash. I've never touched petty cash, I tell the HR director. I don't even know where it's kept. We know. We've reviewed all the security footage and accounting records. There's no evidence of theft, but we're required to investigate all complaints. Who made the complaint? It was anonymous, submitted through our ethics hotline. Every single incident is designed to harass me, to make my life difficult, to create the impression that I'm irresponsible or criminal or both. And every single incident has Bridget's fingerprints all over it. I document everything and send it to Felix. This is harassment, he says. Clear retaliation for filing the lawsuit. We'll add it to our claims. But Natalie, be prepared. This is going to get worse before it gets better. How much worse? She's going to go after your reputation, your character. She's going to try to make you look like the bad guy. She's going to spread rumors, make accusations, try to turn people against you. How do I fight that? You don't. You let the facts speak for themselves. People who know you will believe you. People who don't know you aren't worth convincing. Focus on the legal case, not the court of public opinion. But it's hard to follow that advice when rumors start spreading through my neighborhood. Kara tells me that several neighbors have mentioned hearing that I'm unstable and making false accusations against a friend who tried to help. I'm telling everyone the truth, Kara says. But some people want to believe the drama. They like having something to gossip about. At church, Warren's family's church, which I attend occasionally, people start avoiding me. A woman I've known for years crosses the street when she sees me coming. Warren talks to his parents, explains everything, shows them the evidence. They believe him, but the damage is spreading faster than we can correct it. Maybe we should move, Warren says one night. Start over somewhere else where Bridget hasn't poisoned everyone against you. No, I'm not running. I didn't do anything wrong. I'm not gonna act like I did. But people believe her. Some people, not everyone, and eventually the truth will come out. The criminal investigation, the civil lawsuit, it'll all be public record. People will see who she really is. What if it takes years? Then it takes years. I can wait. But privately, I wonder, can I? Can I really endure years of being treated like a pariah in my own community? Years of false accusations and harassment? Years of fighting? My mother calls. She lives in Florida, and I haven't told her much about what's happening. But somehow, Bridget found her number. Natalie, honey, I got the strangest call today, Mom says. From a woman named Bridget who says she's a friend of yours. She said she's worried about you, that you've been acting strangely, that maybe the cancer treatment affected you more than anyone realized. Mom, that woman is not my friend. She's a criminal who tried to steal our money and is now being sued. She's calling you to manipulate you into doubting me. But she sounded so concerned, so genuine. She's very good at sounding genuine. That's how she operates. Mom, I need you to block her number. Don't believe anything she says. If you want to know what's really happening, ask me directly. This is so strange. Why would someone do this? Because I'm holding her accountable for crimes she committed. And people don't like being held accountable. After I hang up, I add my mother to the list of people Bridget has contacted. The list is getting long. Helen, my employer's HR department, insurance companies, credit card companies, neighbors, church members, now my mother. She's systematic, thorough, relentless. She's digging her own grave, Felix says when I send him the updated list. Every contact is more evidence of harassment. Every false report is another count of filing a false claim. She thinks she's winning, but she's actually building our case for us. It doesn't feel like she's losing. That's because you're living it. From a legal perspective, she's destroying herself. The motion to compel hearing is next week. She'll either have to provide her financial records or face contempt charges. Either way, we win. And if she keeps harassing me in the meantime, then we add those incidents to our damages claim. Harassment has a price. She's going to pay it. I want to believe him. But as I lie in bed that night, listening to Warren snore softly in the other room, we're still not sharing a bed, not yet. I wonder how much more of this I can take. And then my phone buzzes. A text from an unknown number. Check your bank account. Surprise. I open my banking app with shaking hands. My checking account shows a balance of negative $3,000. Multiple transactions I didn't authorize, all posted in the last hour. Someone accessed my account and drained it. I call the bank's fraud line immediately. They put a hold on the account, start an investigation, promise to restore the stolen funds within 10 business days. How did someone access my account? I ask. The transactions were made online using your username and password. Do you have any idea how someone might have obtained your login credentials? I think about my household binder. The one Bridget took. The one that had all my account information. Yes, I say. I know exactly how. I text Felix even though it's midnight. Bridget just drained my bank account, $3,000. I'm filing a police report tonight. He responds immediately. Do it. This is bank fraud. Federal crime. She's not just in civil trouble anymore. She's going to prison. I drive to the police station and file a report. Officer Dawson, who took my original forgery report, recognizes me. Mrs. Foster, what happened now? I explain about the drained account, about the pattern of harassment, about everything. He takes detailed notes, then says something that makes my heart sink. Ma'am, I need to be honest with you. What you're describing is a civil matter. The bank will investigate the fraud, but unless we can prove who accessed your account, there's not much we can do criminally. I know who did it. Bridget Hayes. She had my account information from documents she stole. Can you prove she's the one who made the transactions? Who else would it be? I understand your frustration, but we need evidence. IP addresses, computer forensics, something that directly ties her to the transactions. Otherwise, it's just accusations. I leave the police station feeling defeated. Bridget can steal my money, and there's nothing the police can do because I can't prove it was her, even though we both know it was. But maybe that's the point. Maybe she's showing me that she can hurt me in ways I can't fight back against. Maybe she's showing me what giving up would prevent. When I get home, Warren is awake, worried because I left without waking him. What happened? He asks. Bridget drained our checking account. The bank will restore it, but it'll take 10 days. Warren goes very still. How much was in there? $3,000. Everything between paychecks. So we have no money for 10 days. We have credit cards. We'll manage. Natalie, I'm so sorry. This is my fault. All of this is because of my stupid choices. Right now, it doesn't matter whose fault it is. What matters is stopping her before she does more damage. How? The police won't do anything. She's just going to keep hurting us. Not if we can prove it. Not if we can show the pattern. Felix says every incident builds our case. Eventually, we'll have so much evidence that no one can deny what she's doing. And if eventually is months or years away, then we survive months or years of her harassment, because the alternative is giving up, and I won't do that. Warren looks at me with something like awe. You're the strongest person I know. I'm not strong. I'm just stubborn. There's a difference. But as I say it, I realize maybe stubbornness is its own kind of strength. The strength to keep going when giving up would be easier. The strength to believe that justice will come, even when it's taking forever. The strength to refuse to let a predator win. The motion to compel hearing happens on a Wednesday morning. Judge Morrison, the same judge from the guardianship hearing, presides. She recognizes both Felix and me immediately. Mrs. Foster, she says, we meet again. Yes, Your Honor. And Miss Hayes refuses to provide financial records in your civil case. Mr. Hampton, explain why your client believes she's exempt from standard discovery rules. Carl Hampton stands. He looks uncomfortable. Your Honor, Miss Hayes' financial information is private and not relevant to the claims alleged. Providing such detailed records would be unduly burdensome and invasive. Mr. Brennan, Felix stands. Your Honor, Miss Hayes allegedly defrauded my client of hundreds of thousands of dollars. Her financial records are absolutely relevant. We need to know what assets she has to assess collectability of any judgment. Additionally, her refusal to comply suggests she's hiding something, possibly including proceeds of the fraud itself. Judge Morrison looks at Carl Hampton. Does your client have the stolen funds? There are no stolen funds, Your Honor. Miss Hayes denies all allegations. That's not what I asked. I asked if she has money that Mrs. Foster claims was stolen. If she does, that's relevant. If she doesn't, her financial records will show that. Either way, Mrs. Foster is entitled to this discovery. Your Honor, I'd like to request time to consult with my client. No. Discovery rules are clear. Miss Hayes has 30 days to provide complete financial records for the past 7 years. Bank statements, tax returns, investment accounts, real estate holdings, business records, everything. If she fails to comply, I'll hold her in contempt and impose sanctions. Do you understand? Yes, Your Honor. Good. And Mr. Hampton, tell your client that hiding assets won't work. If I find out she's transferred money or concealed holdings to avoid this judgment, I'll personally ensure she faces the maximum penalties. This court does not tolerate fraud. After the hearing, Felix and I grabbed coffee across the street from the courthouse. That went well, he says. She has to give us everything? Everything. Bank records, assets, income sources. We're gonna see exactly what she's been doing, how much money she's made from her schemes, where she's hidden it. What if she destroys records before turning them over? That's called spoliation of evidence. It's a serious offense. The court can impose harsh sanctions, including instructing a jury to assume that destroyed evidence would have been harmful to her case. So she's trapped. Either she provides evidence that proves our case, or she destroys evidence and the court punishes her for it. Exactly. She's in a no-win situation. That's why she's escalating the harassment. She knows she's losing the legal battle, so she's fighting dirty everywhere else. Speaking of which, I show him my phone. 3 more false fraud reports in the past 24 hours. Credit cards, utility companies, even the DMV, claiming my license should be suspended for unpaid tickets I never received. Document all of it, Felix says. Every report, every hour you spend fixing it, every bit of stress it causes. We're going to include harassment damages in our claim. She's going to pay for every second of misery she's caused you. Will we actually collect? That depends on what the financial records show, but I have a theory. What theory? People who run these kinds of schemes don't spend the money. They hoard it. They keep it hidden, waiting for the right moment to disappear with their nest egg. My guess? Bridget has most of the money she's stolen over the years. She just has it well hidden. How do we find it? We follow the money. Bank transfers, cash withdrawals, property purchases under shell companies. People always leave trails. They just don't think anyone will look. But we're looking. We're definitely looking. That evening, Warren gets a call from his bank. His credit card has been declined and they're investigating suspicious activity. Not again, he says. He spends 45 minutes on the phone sorting it out. Another false fraud report. Another hour of our lives wasted dealing with Bridget's harassment. How long can she keep this up? Warren asks after he hangs up. As long as she wants, but Felix says every incident adds to our damages claim. What's the point of damages if we never collect them? The point is establishing the truth, making sure there's a record of what she did. Even if we don't get all the money back, we'll have documented proof that she's a predator. That helps future victims. Warren looks at me. You've really thought about this, about the bigger picture. I have to. If I just think about what she's doing to us, I'll go crazy. But if I think about preventing her from doing this to someone else, it gives me purpose. You're a better person than me. I'm just a person who got tired of being a victim. My phone buzzes, a text from Dylan. My mom just put her house on the market, thought you should know. I show Warren. She's liquidating assets, she's preparing to run. I forward the text to Felix. He calls immediately. This is good, this is very good. How is her fleeing good? Because the court just ordered her to provide financial records in 30 days. If she's selling her house now, she's trying to hide money before she has to disclose it. That's exactly the kind of thing Judge Morrison warned against. We can file an emergency motion to freeze her assets, prevent her from selling anything until after the discovery is complete. Can we do that? We can absolutely do that. If we can show she's attempting to dissipate assets to avoid a judgment, the court will freeze everything. She won't be able to sell the house, withdraw money, transfer anything, it'll all be locked down. Do it. Felix files the emergency motion that night. The hearing is scheduled for Friday morning, less than 2 days away. In the meantime, Bridget continues her harassment campaign. More false reports, more phone calls to people in my life, more attempts to make me look unstable, irresponsible, criminal. But I'm documenting everything. Every report, every call, every incident. I have a folder now, physical and digital, containing hundreds of pages of evidence, screenshots, statements, police reports, bank records. If Bridget wants to bury me, she's going to have to dig through an avalanche of documentation first. Friday morning, the emergency hearing happens. Carl Hampton looks stressed. Your Honor, my client has every right to sell her personal residence. She's not fleeing. She's simply downsizing after her son moved out for college. Convenient timing, Judge Moore says dryly, right after I ordered her to produce financial records. Mr. Brennan? Your Honor, Ms. Hayes is attempting to hide assets before disclosure. If she sells her house, that money will disappear, transferred to offshore accounts, hidden under shell companies, used to pay co-conspirators. We need the court to freeze all her assets until discovery is complete. Your Honor, that's an extreme remedy. Mr. Hampton, your client has been accused of systematic fraud. She refused to provide discovery until this court compelled her. Now she's trying to sell her largest asset before she has to account for it. The remedy is proportional to the risk. Judge Morrison looks at Carl Hampton for a long moment. Ms. Hayes' assets are frozen effective immediately. No sales, no transfers, no withdrawals above normal living expenses. The freeze remains in effect until financial discovery is complete and the court has reviewed the records. If Ms. Hayes attempts to violate this order, she will be held in contempt and face criminal penalties. Mr. Hampton, make sure your client understands. Yes, Your Honor. After the hearing, Felix is practically grinning. She's trapped. She can't sell her house. She can't move her money. She can't hide anything. In 30 days, we'll see exactly what she's been doing. What if she violates the order? Then she goes to jail. Judge Morrison doesn't make empty threats. If Bridget tries to move assets now, she's looking at criminal contempt, which means actual jail time, not just fines. I should feel victorious, but instead, I just feel tired. Felix, when does this end? When she runs out of moves, and we're getting close, she's running out of legal options. All she has left is harassment, and that just builds our damages case. She's trapped, Natalie. She just doesn't know it yet. I hope you're right. I am. Trust me. I want to trust him. But as I drive home, I can't shake the feeling that Bridget has one more move left. One final, desperate play. And desperate people are dangerous. The financial records arrive exactly 30 days later, delivered by courier to Felix's office in multiple boxes. Thousands of pages of bank statements, tax returns, loan documents, everything. Felix calls me immediately. We've got them. And Natalie, there's a lot here. This is going to take weeks to sort through. What have you seen so far? Multiple bank accounts. Several business entities I'd never heard of. Real estate holdings under shell companies. She's been running a sophisticated operation. How much money are we talking about? I won't know for sure until my forensic accountant goes through everything. But at first glance, millions. She's stolen millions over the years. The number hits me like a punch. From how many families? I don't know yet, but we're gonna find out. Every deposit, every transfer, every penny. We're gonna trace it all back to source. How long will that take? My accountant says 6 to 8 weeks for a preliminary report. But Natalie, this is good. This proves she's a career criminal. This isn't just about what she did to you. It's about a pattern of predation spanning years, possibly decades. That evening, I tell Warren what Felix found. He sits at the kitchen table, head in his hands. I led you to a career criminal, he says. I brought a con artist into our lives because I was too ashamed to tell you the truth about my mistake. You didn't know. I should have known. I should have asked more questions. I should have wondered why someone would be so helpful for no apparent reason. Predators are good at what they do. That's why they're successful. You're not stupid for being targeted. You were vulnerable, and she exploited that. But other people saw through her. My mom said she had a bad feeling. Kara said something felt off. Why didn't I see it? Because you needed to believe she was helping. Because the alternative was facing the truth about the debt. You saw what you wanted to see. Warren looks up at me. Do you think you'll ever forgive me? I'm quiet for a long moment. I think I'm working toward it, but forgiveness isn't the same as trust. I forgive you for making bad choices. I don't yet trust that you won't make them again. How do I earn that trust back? Time, consistency, showing me through your actions that you've learned. There's no shortcut, Warren. You destroyed 22 years of trust in 5 years of lies. Rebuilding takes longer than destroying. I understand. That night, I dream about Bridget. Not the friendly, helpful Bridget I knew for 8 years, but the real Bridget, cold, calculating, predatory. In the dream, she's in my house, going through my things, cataloging my vulnerabilities, planning her attack. I wake up sweating, my heart racing. It's 3 a.m. I can't go back to sleep. I go to my home office and pull up the digital files of Bridget's financial records that Felix shared with me. Page after page of transactions. Thousands of small deposits. $500 here, $1,000 there, $2,500, $5,000. Money flowing in from multiple sources. And then I see something that makes my blood run cold. A deposit labeled W. Foster Consulting Fee. $3,000. Dated 6 months ago. Warren paid her. Warren gave her $3,000 6 months ago and never told me. I sit at my desk, staring at the screen, my hands shaking. I want to wake Warren up right now, demand an explanation. But it's 3 in the morning and I need to think clearly. I screenshot the transaction and send it to Felix with a note. Warren paid Bridget $3,000 6 months ago. Did you know about this? I don't expect a response at this hour, but Felix calls immediately. I'm reviewing the records too, he says. Just saw that. No, I didn't know. Have you asked Warren about it? Not yet. I just found it. Ask him tomorrow. There might be an innocent explanation. Or there might not be. Natalie, I know this is hard, but don't jump to conclusions. Get the facts first. After we hang up, I sit in my office until dawn, going through more of the records. I find other transactions I don't understand. Payments from people I don't know, transfers between accounts with cryptic labels. And I realize Bridget's operation is even bigger than we thought. She's not just exploiting vulnerable individuals. She's running an organized fraud scheme with multiple victims, multiple revenue streams, multiple layers of deception. When Warren wakes up, I'm at the kitchen table with a cup of coffee and a printout of the bank statement showing his payment to Bridget. We need to talk, I say. He sees the paper and goes pale. I can explain. Then explain. He sits down heavily. 6 months ago, Bridget said she needed money for legal fees. She said one of her former clients was suing her, claiming she'd stolen from them. She said it was a false claim, but she needed money for an attorney. She asked if I could help. And you gave her $3,000. I felt guilty. I thought maybe if I helped her, she'd forgive some of the debt I owed her. She'd been paying the loans for me, keeping everything quiet. I wanted to stay in her good graces. So you paid her with our money. Money I earned, money from our joint account, to help her defend herself against accusations that were probably true. I didn't know they were true. She said they were false. And you believed her. Again, even after everything, you believed her. I'm sorry. I should have told you. Yes, you should have. But you didn't because you knew I'd ask questions. You knew I'd want to know why someone needed legal fees to defend against fraud allegations. You knew I'd see through her. Warren doesn't argue. He can't. How many other payments were there? I ask. Just that one. I swear. I'm going to verify that with the forensic accountant. If there are more payments you're hiding, I'll find them. And Warren, if I find even one more lie, even one more payment you didn't tell me about, I'm done. Do you understand? Done. Not divorce necessarily, but done trusting you, done believing in this marriage, done trying to rebuild what you keep tearing down. There aren't any more, I promise. Your promises don't mean much anymore. I leave the house and drive to Felix's office. I sit in the parking lot and cry for 20 minutes before I can compose myself enough to go inside. Felix takes one look at me and pours me coffee without asking. Warren confirmed the payment, I say. He claims it was the only one. Can your accountant verify that? already on it. We're flagging any transactions involving Warren's name or account numbers. If there are more, we'll find them. I don't know if I can keep doing this, Felix. Every time I think I understand the extent of the damage, I find something new. Every time I think Warren has told me everything, there's another secret. Do you want to pursue divorce? I don't know. Maybe. I don't know anything anymore except that I'm tired of being surprised by my own life. That's fair. But Natalie, for what it's worth, you're handling this remarkably well. Most people would have given up by now. Most people probably should have. No. Giving up means letting her win. Means letting her do this to someone else. You're not just protecting yourself anymore. You're protecting future victims. That matters. I want to believe him. But sitting in his office, exhausted and heartbroken, I mostly just want it to be over. The forensic accountant's preliminary report arrives 3 weeks later. Felix calls me to his office to review it together. The accountant, a woman named Dr. Patricia Yates, joins us via video call. Mrs. Foster, Dr. Yates begins, what I'm about to show you is the result of analyzing over 10,000 pages of financial records. What I found is one of the most sophisticated financial fraud schemes I've seen in my 20-year career. She shares her screen. It's a complex chart showing money flowing between multiple accounts, businesses, and individuals. Bridget Hayes has been running this operation for at least 12 years. She identifies vulnerable targets, people with financial problems, health issues, family crises. She befriends them, gains their trust, and slowly takes control of their finances. Once she has control, she siphons money through a variety of methods. How much money, I ask? Conservatively? $3.2 million. Possibly more. There are gaps in the records that suggest hidden accounts we haven't found yet. The number is staggering. $3.2 million. From how many families? I've identified at least 17 different victims over 12 years. Dr. Yates continues. Some lost tens of thousands. Others lost everything, their savings, their homes, their retirement. One elderly couple lost over $400,000. What happened to them? I ask. According to public records, they filed for bankruptcy and moved into assisted living. Their children filed a police report claiming Bridget had exploited them, but the case went nowhere because they couldn't prove it. Why not? Because Bridget is very, very good at what she does. She gets victims to sign documents giving her power of attorney. She makes them dependent on her. She isolates them from family members who might ask questions. And when they finally realize what's happening, it's too late. She has legal documentation making everything she did appear legitimate. Felix leans forward. What about Warren's payment? Were there others? Just the one. $3,000, paid 6 months ago. But I found something else interesting. Warren wasn't paying Bridget. He was paying one of her shell companies, Bridge Financial Consulting LLC. Same initials as her name. She has several of these entities, all variations on the same theme. So she's been hiding money in multiple business accounts? Exactly. And using those businesses to obscure the source of her income. On her tax returns, she reports modest income from financial consulting. In reality, she's making hundreds of thousands per year from exploitation. Where is the money now? I ask. That's the interesting part. Most of it is still there. She hasn't spent it. She has approximately $2.8 million in various accounts, investment accounts, business accounts, even cash in safe deposit boxes. She's been hoarding it. Why? Dr. Yates shrugs. My guess? She's been planning an exit strategy. One big score, then disappear with her nest egg and start over somewhere else. Your family might have been that big score. The realization hits me hard. We weren't just victims. We were supposed to be her retirement plan. Can we recover the money? Felix asks. The money she stole from Mrs. Foster? Absolutely. It's traceable. The money she stole from other victims? That's more complicated. It depends on whether those victims come forward, whether they have documentation, whether they're willing to pursue legal action. So we could end up helping other victims get their money back? Potentially. If this becomes a criminal case, and with this level of fraud it should, the government might pursue restitution for all victims. After Dr. Yates signs off, Felix and I sit in his office processing the information. 17 victims, I say quietly. 17 families destroyed. And you're the one who stopped her. If you'd paid her off, if you'd signed that settlement agreement, she'd still be out there finding new victims. What happens now? Now we take this report to the DA's office. We show them the pattern. We connect them with other victims. We build a case that's so overwhelming, Bridget has no choice but to plead guilty. And if she doesn't, then we go to trial. But Natalie, with this much evidence, she'd be insane to go to trial. Any decent attorney will tell her to take a plea deal. How long does all this take? Months, maybe a year. Criminal cases move slowly, and the civil case, we can move faster on that. With this financial report, we can amend our complaint to add additional victims as plaintiffs. We can turn this into a class action lawsuit. Instead of just you suing Bridget, it's 17 families suing her together. Would that work? It would be devastating for her. 17 families testifying about the same pattern of behavior? No jury would side with her. We'd win, and we'd win big. But collecting the judgment? She has $2.8 million in traceable assets. The court can seize all of it to pay victims. Everyone would get at least some of their money back. For the first time in months, I feel something like hope. Not hope that my life will go back to normal. It never will. But hope that justice is possible. Hope that other families might be made whole. Hope that Bridget will finally face consequences. Do it, I say. Contact the other victims. Build the class action. Let's finish this. That evening, I show Warren the forensic report. He reads it in silence, his face getting progressively more pale. I helped her do this, he says finally. By hiding my debt, by giving her access to our accounts, by not asking questions. I helped her build this empire of fraud. You were a victim too, Warren. She exploited your shame. But other people, 17 families, they lost everything because I was too proud to admit I made a mistake. You can't take responsibility for her actions. She chose to be a predator. You chose to be ashamed. Those are different choices with different moral weights. I don't know how to live with this. Neither do I. But we figure it out one day at a time. Warren looks at me. Are you going to leave me? I don't know. Some days I think yes. Some days I think no. Today, I don't know. That's fair. Warren, I need to ask you something, and I need you to be completely honest. Is there anything else? Any other secrets? Any other lies? Anything you haven't told me? He's quiet for a long time. Too long. Warren? There's one more thing. It's not about Bridget. It's about Owen. My heart stops. What about Owen? The money for his college tuition. The account where we saved for years. I took money from it. Not all of it, but about $40,000. I used it to pay some of the loans 3 years ago. I told myself I'd replace it before he needed it, but I never did. I stand up. I need to move, need space, need air. Owen's college fund. You stole from our son's college fund. I was going to replace it, but you didn't. So what was Owen gonna do when tuition was due? What was the plan? I thought I'd figure something out. Or maybe you'd have money from your bonuses, or maybe he'd get scholarships. Maybe. You were playing maybe with our son's future. I know. I'm so sorry. How much is left in the account? About $60,000. He needs $25,000 per year, so enough for a little over 2 years. And then what? I don't know. I've been trying not to think about it. I walk out of the house. I don't take my purse, don't take my phone. I just walk. I walk through our neighborhood, past Kara's house, past the houses where Bridget used to come for birthday parties and cookouts. I walk for an hour, maybe more. When I finally come back, Warren is sitting on the front steps waiting for me. I'll fix it, he says. I'll get a second job. I'll sell my car. I'll do whatever it takes to replace the money I took from Owen's fund. It's not about the money, Warren. It's about the lies. It's about you making decisions that affect all of us without including us. It's about you prioritizing your pride over your family. I know. I don't think you do. Because if you knew, really knew, you would have told me about the debt before it got this bad. You would have told me about Bridget before she took over our lives. You would have told me about Owen's fund before I found out like this. You're right. I'm weak. I'm a coward. I'm everything you think I am. Stop. Stop making yourself the victim. You made choices. Own them. Don't wallow in self-pity. Fix them. Warren looks up at me. How? Start by telling Owen the truth. All of it. The debt, the loans, the money you took from his fund. Let him decide how he feels about it. He'll hate me. Maybe. Or maybe he'll appreciate the honesty. Either way, he deserves to know. And what about us? I don't know, Warren. I honestly don't know if we survive this. But if we do, it has to be built on truth. Complete, total, uncomfortable truth. No more secrets, no more lies, no more protecting your ego at the expense of our family. Okay, I'll tell Owen this weekend when he comes home. Good. And Warren? I'm sleeping in the guest room tonight. Maybe for a while. I need space to think about what I want. I understand. That night, lying in the guest room bed, I think about the 17 families Bridget destroyed. I think about the elderly couple who lost $400,000. I think about Owen's college fund and Warren's lies and the life I thought I had versus the life I actually have. And I realize I'm angry. Furious, even. Not just at Bridget, though she deserves my rage, but at Warren, at his weakness, his cowardice, his willingness to sacrifice everything, me, Owen, our future, to avoid the discomfort of honesty. I'm angry. And I'm allowed to be angry. And being angry doesn't make me a bad person or a bad wife. It makes me human. Felix starts reaching out to the other victims identified in Dr. Yates's report. Some are easy to find. They still live locally. Others have moved away, trying to rebuild their lives after Bridget destroyed them. The first victim who agrees to join the lawsuit is a woman named Ruth Patterson. She's 83 years old. Her husband died 5 years ago, and Bridget helped her settle his estate. She took everything, Ruth tells me when we meet at Felix's office. My husband's life insurance, our savings, the money from selling our house. She said she was investing it for me, making sure I'd be taken care of. Instead, she transferred it all to herself and left me with nothing. How much did you lose? $412,000. Everything we'd saved in 50 years of marriage. I had to move in with my daughter. I couldn't afford to live on my own anymore. Did you report it to the police? I tried, but Bridget had power of attorney. She showed them documents I'd signed. Documents I don't remember signing, but my signature was on them. The police said it was a civil matter, not criminal. So I hired a lawyer, but lawyers are expensive, and I didn't have money to pay for a long fight. Eventually I gave up. I'm so sorry. Don't be sorry. Get her. Get her for what she did to me, to you, to all of us. The second victim is a man named Charles Rodriguez. He's 67. Bridget helped him after he had a heart attack 3 years ago. I was vulnerable, he tells us. Scared, worried I'd have another attack and leave my wife with financial chaos. Bridget said she could organize everything, make sure my wife would be protected if something happened to me. Instead, she forged my signature on loan documents and took out $180,000 in equity loans against my house. How did you find out? The bank sent foreclosure notices. I had no idea the loans existed. By the time I figured out what she'd done, she'd taken the money and disappeared from my life. When I tried to confront her, she threatened to file harassment charges against me. So you stopped? I was scared. I just had a heart attack. I couldn't handle more stress. So I paid off the loans, used my retirement savings to do it, and moved away. My kids still don't talk to me because they think I gambled the money away. I never told them the truth because I was too ashamed. By the end of the week, Felix has signed up 8 victims to join the lawsuit. 8 families, spanning 12 years, all with the same story. Bridget befriended them, gained their trust, took control of their finances, and stole everything. This is powerful, Felix says. 8 families testifying to the same pattern. A jury will eat this up. When do we file the amended complaint? Next week. Once it's filed, it's going to get media attention. This is big. A 12-year fraud scheme. Millions stolen, elderly victims. The press will love it. Is that good or bad? Good for us, bad for Bridget. Public scrutiny makes it harder for her to play victim. And it might encourage other victims we haven't found yet to come forward. The amended complaint is filed on a Tuesday morning. By Tuesday afternoon, my phone is ringing with calls from reporters. Mrs. Foster, can you comment on the lawsuit against Bridget Hayes? Mrs. Foster, how did you discover the fraud? Mrs. Foster, what message do you have for other victims? Felix handles most of the press inquiries, but he encourages me to do one interview with a local investigative reporter named Andrea Simmons, who's been covering financial exploitation cases for years. We meet at a coffee shop downtown. Andrea is in her 40s, sharp-eyed, with a notebook full of questions. Tell me how you discovered what Bridget was doing, she says. I tell her the whole story. The key, the household binder, the forged signatures, the guardianship petition. I tell her about Warren's debt and how Bridget exploited it. I tell her about the 17 victims and the $3.2 million. Andrea takes notes rapidly, asking clarifying questions, pushing for details. This is a hell of a story, she says. Mind if I talk to some of the other victims? They'd probably appreciate someone telling their story. What do you want people to know? I think about that. I want people to know that financial predators look like friends. They look helpful, trustworthy, kind. They don't announce themselves as criminals. They build relationships over years. And by the time you realize what's happening, they've already taken everything. What should people do if they suspect they're being exploited? Document everything. Every transaction, every conversation, every document. Don't let shame or embarrassment stop you from asking for help. And don't let the predator convince you that protecting yourself is betrayal. Andrea's article runs 3 days later. It's front page news. Local woman exposes massive fraud scheme. 17 families victimized over 12 years. The article includes interviews with me, Ruth Patterson, Charles Rodriguez, and 2 other victims. It details Bridget's methods, her targets, the amounts stolen. It includes a quote from Detective Reeves, saying the police are now actively investigating as a result of the civil lawsuit's discoveries. And it includes a photo of Bridget. Not a mugshot, just a photo from social media. She's smiling, looking friendly, and trustworthy. Exactly the kind of person you'd let into your life. My phone explodes with messages. Friends reaching out to say they had no idea. Neighbors apologizing for doubting me. People from church saying they should have believed me sooner. And 3 new victims contacting Felix, saying they saw the article and realized Bridget had done the same thing to them. We're up to 11 victims now, Felix tells me, and I expect more will come forward. This article is going to shake loose a lot of buried stories. How is Bridget handling it? According to Carl Hampton, she's devastated, claims the article is defamatory, says she's going to sue for libel. Can she? No. Everything in the article is true and documented. You can't sue for libel when the published statements are factual. But threatening a lawsuit is her way of trying to intimidate people into silence. It won't work. I know. But she's going to try every trick she has left. That evening, Warren comes home with a newspaper. He's read Andrea's article. You're brave, he says. Going public like that, I could never do it. That's the problem, Warren. You can never do the hard thing. You hide, you lie, you protect yourself at everyone else's expense. I told Owen about the debt, the loans, his college fund, like you said. How did he take it? He's angry, really angry. He said he doesn't want to talk to me for a while, maybe a long while. That's fair. Is it? He's my son, don't I deserve forgiveness? You deserve what you've earned. Right now, you've earned Owen's anger. If you want forgiveness, earn that too. How? I don't know, Warren. Figure it out. That's not my job anymore. I walk away, leaving him standing in the kitchen with the newspaper in his hands, finally beginning to understand what accountability looks like. Bridget's response to the media attention is to try to control the narrative. She starts her own social media campaign, posting long statements about being victimized by false accusations and greedy people trying to steal from a single mother. She posts photos of herself with Dylan when he was young, painting herself as a devoted mother, just trying to help people. She posts screenshots of thank you notes from families she helped, carefully edited to remove context. Look at what a good person I am, her posts say. Look at how much I've sacrificed to help others. These accusations are destroying me. Some people believe her. There are always people who want to believe the underdog, who want to think everyone's being unfairly persecuted. But more people see through it. The comments on her posts are brutal. You stole from elderly people. That's not helping. That's predatory. Where's the $3.2 million if you were just helping? 17 families don't all lie about the same person. You're a criminal. Felix advises me not to engage. Don't respond to her posts. Don't get into arguments online. Let her dig her own grave. But it's hard to watch her lying, to watch her spinning the narrative, to watch her playing victim when there are real victims. Ruth Patterson, Charles Rodriguez, all the others, who lost everything because of her. Then Bridget does something that takes her desperation to a new level. She contacts Owen. Owen calls me from college, angry and confused. "Mom, Bridget messaged me on Facebook. She said you're lying about her, that she was trying to help Dad, that you're destroying her life for no reason." "What did you say?" "I blocked her. But Mom, she sent me like 20 messages before I could block her. Long messages about how much she cares about our family, how she's always been there for us, how you're making a huge mistake." "Did she ask you to do anything?" "She asked me to talk to you, to convince you to drop the lawsuit. She said if you drop it, she'll forgive everything and we can all move forward." "Owen, you know that's manipulation, right?" "Of course I know. I'm not stupid. But it's really creepy that she's contacting me. Like we haven't talked in months, and now suddenly she's in my DMs trying to use me against you?" "She's desperate. Desperate people do desperate things." "Should I report it to someone?" "Screenshot everything and send it to Felix. It's more evidence of harassment." After we hang up, I text Felix. Bridget is contacting Owen, trying to use him to pressure me into dropping the lawsuit. Felix responds, "That's witness tampering. If she's trying to influence potential witnesses through harassment or pressure, that's a crime. Save everything Owen sends you." Owen forwards me the screenshots. Bridget's messages are long, rambling, emotional. She talks about how much she loves our family, how she's only ever tried to help, how I'm destroying her reputation for no reason. And in the last message, she writes, "Tell your mother that if she doesn't drop this lawsuit, she's gonna regret it. I know things that will destroy her. Tell her to stop before it's too late." It's a threat. Clear, direct, unmistakable. I forward it to Felix immediately. He calls within minutes. "This is exactly what we needed. She's threatening you through your son. That's harassment, witness tampering, and potentially extortion. I'm filing for a restraining order expansion to cover Owen, and I'm notifying the DA's office." She just handed us another charge. What things could she know? What is she threatening me with? Nothing. She's bluffing. People who have real dirt don't threaten to reveal it. They just reveal it. The threat itself is the weapon. She's trying to scare you into backing down. It's not working. Good, because we're so close to the finish line. The DA's office is reviewing Dr. Yates's report. They're interviewing victims. They're building a criminal case. All you have to do is hold on a little longer. How much longer? Weeks, maybe a month. Then she'll be arrested, and this nightmare will be over. But that night, lying in bed, I can't shake Bridget's threat. I know things that will destroy her. What things? I've lived an ordinary life. I've never committed crimes, never done anything scandalous. What could she possibly have on me? Unless she's planning to manufacture evidence, to lie, to create false scandals the same way she created false competency concerns. My phone buzzes at midnight. A text from an unknown number with a photo attached. I open it with shaking hands. It's a photo of me from 3 years ago when I was going through chemotherapy. I'm bald, thin, sitting in what looks like a bar. There's a glass in front of me. The photo is taken from a distance, like someone was surveilling me. The text reads, "Remember this? Should we discuss your drinking problem? Or should you drop the lawsuit?" My hands shake so hard I almost dropped the phone. That photo. I remember that night. It was during chemo. I was exhausted, depressed, struggling. My friend Lydia took me out for one drink, to try to cheer me up. We sat in a quiet bar for an hour. I had one glass of wine, 3 years ago, during the worst time of my life. And Bridget is trying to use it to claim I have a drinking problem. I screenshot the threat and send it to Felix, even though it's midnight. He calls immediately. That's blackmail. Clear, textbook blackmail. She's threatening to publish false information unless you drop the lawsuit. That's extortion. She has a photo of me in a bar during chemo. She's going to claim I'm an alcoholic. Let her try. One photo of one drink during cancer treatment doesn't prove anything, but her threatening to use it proves everything about who she is. Felix, I'm scared. What if she has other photos? What if she has things I don't even remember? 8 years she was in my life. 8 years of birthday parties and dinners and casual conversations. What else does she have? Natalie, listen to me. You have lived an honest life. You have documented everything. You have witnesses, evidence, the truth. She has one photo from 3 years ago and a willingness to lie. You're going to win this. You keep saying that. Because it's true, you've already won. She's just making it take longer. After we hang up, I sit in bed, staring at the photo. That night, I remember it clearly now. Lydia picking me up, insisting I needed to get out of the house. Sitting in that bar, drinking that one glass of wine, crying about everything I was going through. And Bridget was there. Watching. Taking photos. Even then, 3 years ago, she was gathering ammunition. How long had she been planning this? How long had she been watching me, cataloging my vulnerabilities, waiting for the right moment to strike? I pull up my laptop and start documenting the date of the photo, where I was, who I was with, what I was going through, every detail, every context, every truth that Bridget is trying to erase with her lies. Because I've learned, when people come for you with lies, you fight back with truth. Every time. No matter how tired you are. And I'm very, very tired. But I'm not done yet. The DA's office calls Felix 3 days later. They want to meet with me and the other victims. They're moving forward with criminal charges. We gather in a conference room at the DA's office. Me, Ruth Patterson, Charles Rodriguez, and 3 other victims. The assistant DA, a woman named Karen Brennan, no relation to Felix, addresses us. I want to thank you all for coming forward, she says. What Bridget Hayes did to you is unconscionable. After reviewing the evidence compiled by Mr. Brennan and Dr. Yates, we're filing criminal charges. What charges? Ruth asks. Multiple counts of forgery, fraud, theft, identity theft, financial exploitation of vulnerable adults, and witness tampering. Combined, she's looking at 20 to 30 years if convicted on all counts. The room is silent. 30 years. Bridget is 43. She could spend the rest of her life in prison. When will she be arrested? I ask. Within the week. We're coordinating with the judge to issue an arrest warrant, given the severity of the charges and her recent attempts to flee. Trying to sell her house, the threats to witnesses, we'll be requesting high bail. What if she runs? Charles asks. We've been monitoring her accounts. With the asset freeze in place, she has limited access to cash. We've also flagged her passport. If she tries to leave the country, we'll know immediately. After the meeting, the victims gather in the parking lot. We're a strange group, different ages, different backgrounds, united only by having trusted the wrong person. Ruth hugs me. Thank you, she says, for not giving up, for fighting when the rest of us couldn't. I'm not done yet, I tell her. Not until she's convicted and you all get your money back. Even if I never see that money again, Ruth says, at least she'll be stopped. At least she won't do this to anyone else. Driving home, I think about that. Getting justice isn't just about recovering money or punishing Bridget. It's about stopping her, making sure no one else loses everything because they trusted a friend. Warren is waiting when I get home. How did it go? They're filing criminal charges, 20 to 30 years possible. Warren is quiet. She's going to prison. She should go to prison. She stole $3 million from 17 families. I know. But it's still strange to think about. Someone we knew, someone we trusted, going to prison. You feel sorry for her? No, not sorry, just, it's surreal. Warren, she threatened our son, she tried to blackmail me, she stole from elderly people. Save your empathy for people who deserve it. You're right, I'm sorry. My phone buzzes. A text from Felix. DA's office is executing the arrest warrant tomorrow morning. Thought you'd want to know. Tomorrow. Bridget will be arrested tomorrow. I should feel victorious. Instead, I just feel tired. So tired of fighting, of documenting, of defending myself against lies, but also relieved. Finally, after months of harassment and threats and manipulation, Bridget is going to face legal consequences. That night, I can't sleep. I keep imagining what the arrest will be like. Police showing up at her door, handcuffs, reading her rights. Part of me wants to be there to see it. Part of me never wants to see her again. My phone buzzes at 6 in the morning. A text from Kara. Police cars at Bridget's house. Lots of them. I don't respond. I just lie in bed, staring at the ceiling, knowing it's happening. Right now, while I'm lying here, Bridget is being arrested. Felix calls at 8. She's in custody, arrested without incident. Arraignment is this afternoon. That fast? They want to get her in front of a judge before she has time to plan an escape. With the amount of money involved and her attempts to flee, she's a flight risk. What happens at arraignment? They read the charges, she enters a plea, probably not guilty. Then the judge sets bail. We'll be there to argue for high bail or no bail. You're welcome to attend if you want. I want to. The courthouse is packed. Apparently word got out about the case, and reporters are everywhere. I recognize Andrea Simmons from the newspaper. She nods at me but doesn't approach. Bridget is led into the courtroom in handcuffs. She's wearing an orange jumpsuit. She looks smaller than I remember, diminished. Her confident mask is gone, replaced by something like fear. Our eyes meet across the courtroom. For a moment, she just stares at me. Then she mouths something. I can't tell what it is, but her expression is pure hatred. The judge, a stern man in his 60s named Judge Nelson, reads the charges. It takes several minutes. There are so many counts of fraud, forgery, theft. How does the defendant plead? Judge Nelson asks. Bridget's attorney, Carl Hampton, stands. Not guilty, Your Honor. The matter of bail, Judge Nelson says. Ms. Brennan? Karen Brennan, the assistant DA, stands. Your Honor, the state requests that Miss Hayes be held without bail. She has demonstrated a pattern of witness intimidation and threats. She attempted to sell her home to hide assets. She has access to significant liquid assets despite court-ordered freezes. And she has no significant ties to the community that would ensure her appearance at trial. Mr. Hampton? Your Honor, Miss Hayes is a single mother with an 18-year-old son in college. She has lived in this community for 15 years. She has no criminal record. The allegations against her are serious, but she denies them all. She deserves the opportunity to prepare her defense from outside custody. Judge Nelson reviews the case file. Given the severity of the charges, the amount of money involved, the pattern of witness tampering, and the defendant's attempts to liquidate assets, I'm setting bail at $5 million, cash only. No property bonds. Miss Hayes will surrender her passport and wear an ankle monitor if released. Next court date is 30 days from now for preliminary hearing. $5 million. Bridget will never make that bail. She's led out of the courtroom, and for the first time since this started, I see her looking truly defeated. Outside the courthouse, reporters surround me. I give a brief statement, carefully worded per Felix's instructions. I'm grateful to the DA's office for taking this case seriously and for giving voice to the victims who couldn't fight for themselves. Financial exploitation happens to anyone. It's not about being smart or educated. It's about trust being weaponized. If my story helps even one person recognize the warning signs and protect themselves, then everything I went through was worth it. Andrea Simmons catches me as I'm leaving. Mrs. Foster, can I ask, do you have any message for Bridget Hayes? I think about that. I hope she uses her time in custody to think about the lives she destroyed, and I hope she realizes that accountability isn't punishment, it's justice. That evening, the arrest is the lead story on the local news. The footage shows Bridget being led out of her house in handcuffs, looking shell-shocked. Warren watches the news with me. It's really over, he says. It's not over. There's still the trial, the civil case, recovering the money. But this part, the fear, the harassment, the threats, that's over. How do you feel? I think about it. I don't know yet. Ask me again in a month. That night, I sleep in my own bed for the first time in weeks. Not because I've forgiven Warren, but because I'm not afraid anymore. Bridget is in jail. She can't hurt me, can't threaten Owen, can't harass my family, or drain my accounts or forge my signature. She's in jail. And I'm free. The preliminary hearing happens 30 days later. It's where the prosecution presents evidence to show there's probable cause for the charges. Felix explains that it's basically a preview of the trial, a chance for us to see the prosecution's case. All 11 victims attend. We sit together in the gallery, a united front. Ruth Patterson holds my hand on one side. Charles Rodriguez sits on the other. The prosecution calls witnesses, Detective Reeves, Dr. Yates, several of the victims. They present documents, bank records, forged signatures. The evidence is overwhelming. Bridget sits at the defense table looking calm, but I can see her hands shaking. Carl Hampton looks like he'd rather be anywhere else. After 2 days of testimony, Judge Nelson rules, I find there is probable cause to believe the defendant committed the crimes charged. This matter will proceed to trial. Trial is set for 4 months away. Outside the courthouse, reporters ask for comments. Ruth Patterson speaks, her voice steady despite her age. For 5 years I thought I was stupid. I thought I was the only one who fell for Bridget's lies. Standing here with 10 other victims, I know now, it wasn't about being stupid. It was about trusting someone who didn't deserve trust. And today, we're taking that power back. The press coverage is extensive. The story has everything. Vulnerable victims, millions stolen, a predator who looked like a friend. It becomes a cautionary tale shared on social media, discussed on local radio, featured on crime podcasts. And with each story, more victims come forward. People who lost money years ago but never reported it. People who were embarrassed, ashamed, afraid. By the time trial approaches, we have 17 confirmed victims willing to testify. 17 families spanning 15 years, all with the same story. Felix works with Karen Brennan to prepare for trial. He sends me regular updates, witness lists, evidence being presented, prosecution strategy. They're going for broke, he tells me. They want Bridget to plead guilty, so they're building a case so strong that going to trial would be suicide for her defense. Will she take a plea? Smart Money says yes. Carl Hampton knows he can't win this. He'll advise her to plead guilty and hope for a reduced sentence. But as trial approaches, Bridget refuses to plead. She maintains her innocence, claims she was just helping people, insists the victims are lying or confused. She's going to trial, Felix tells me 2 weeks before the date. She's actually going to make us prove it all in court. Why? She'll lose. Pride, desperation, delusion. Take your pick. Some people would rather go down fighting than admit they were wrong. The civil case is put on hold pending the outcome of the criminal trial. We don't want to interfere with the criminal prosecution, Felix explains. Once she's convicted, the civil case becomes much easier. Criminal conviction is admissible evidence of liability. Warren and I settle into a strange routine. We're living together, but not really together. He's in the guest room. We're polite, civil, but distant. Have you decided, he asks one night, about us? Not yet. I need to see how you handle the next few months. Whether you stay honest, whether you rebuild Owen's trust, whether you actually change, or just talk about changing. That's fair. Warren, I need you to understand something. Even if I decide to stay, our marriage is never going back to what it was. That version died when you lied to me for 5 years. If we rebuild, it'll be something different. Maybe better, maybe worse, but definitely different. I can live with different. I just don't want to lose you. Then prove it, not with words, with actions. Owen comes home for spring break. He's still angry at Warren, barely speaking to him. But he spends time with me, helping me prepare for trial testimony. Mom, are you scared? He asks one night. Of testifying? A little. Of Bridget? Not anymore. I saw her mugshot online. She looks so normal, like someone's mom. That's what makes predators dangerous. They don't look like monsters, they look like friends. Dylan texted me. He said he's sorry for everything his mom did. He said he's not coming to the trial because he can't watch her get convicted. That's understandable. None of this is Dylan's fault. He said he's changing his last name. He doesn't want to be associated with her anymore. I think about Dylan, 18 years old, trying to separate himself from his mother's crimes. Trying to build an identity that isn't defined by what she did. Tell him I don't blame him for anything. Tell him he's not responsible for his mother's choices. I did. He said thank you for always being kind to him. The night before trial begins, I can't sleep. I keep running through my testimony in my head, imagining cross-examination, worrying about saying the wrong thing. Felix calls at 11 p.m. Natalie, Carl Hampton just contacted me. Bridget wants to plead guilty. My heart pounds. What? She's offering to plead guilty to 15 of the 23 counts in exchange for the prosecution dropping the rest. She'd get 15 to 20 years, probably serve 10 to 12 with good behavior. What about restitution? Full restitution to all victims. She'd have to liquidate all assets and pay back everything she stole. So we'd get our money back? Most of it. Probably 80 to 90 cents on the dollar after legal fees and administrative costs. And she admits guilt publicly? As part of the plea, she'd have to allocute. That means stand in court and admit what she did. No more claiming she was just helping people. She'd have to say, I stole from these families. I forged documents. I exploited vulnerable people. I'm quiet for a long moment. Part of me wants the trial. Wants to watch her face as victim after victim testifies. Wants a jury to convict her. wants the full spectacle of justice. But another part of me is just tired. Tired of fighting. Tired of this taking over my life. Tired of waiting for closure. What do the other victims think, I ask. I've been calling them. Most want to accept the plea. Ruth says she just wants her money back and for this to be over. Charles says he doesn't care as long as Bridget goes to prison. If I'm the only one who wants a trial, will they do it? The DA's office will do what the victims want. But Natalie, consider this. A guilty plea is certain. A trial, no matter how strong the evidence, always has risk. What if one juror doesn't believe us? What if there's a hung jury? A plea eliminates that risk. When do they need an answer? Tomorrow morning. The plea has to happen before trial starts, or the offer goes away. After we hang up, I sit in my dark living room thinking, I want justice. But what is justice? Is it Bridget standing trial, or is it Bridget admitting guilt and paying restitution? Is it about punishment, or is it about making victims whole? I call Ruth Patterson. She answers on the first ring. Apparently, she can't sleep either. What do you think we should do? I ask. I think we should accept the plea, she says. I'm 83 years old. I don't have time for a months-long trial. I want my money back while I'm still alive to use it, and I want to stop thinking about her every day. You're right. But Natalie, you're the one who made all this possible. If you want a trial, we'll stand with you. No, a guilty plea is enough, as long as she admits what she did, as long as everyone knows the truth. I call Felix back. Accept the plea. Let's end this. The plea hearing happens the next morning. The courtroom is packed. All 17 victims, reporters, curious observers who've been following the case. Bridget is led in wearing handcuffs and an orange jumpsuit. She looks thinner than when this started, older. Prison doesn't suit her. Judge Nelson addresses the courtroom. We're here for a change of plea in the matter of Commonwealth versus Hayes. Miss Hayes, you understand that by pleading guilty, you're waiving your right to a trial. Yes, Your Honor. Bridget's voice is barely audible. And you understand the charges against you and the potential sentence? Yes, Your Honor. Has anyone forced or coerced you to enter this plea? No, Your Honor. Karen Brennan stands. Your Honor, as part of the plea agreement, the defendant must allocute to the crimes. She must state in her own words what she did. Judge Nelson nods. Miss Hayes, tell the court what you did. Bridget stands. She doesn't look at any of us, the victims seated in the gallery. She stares straight ahead at the judge. I stole money from people who trusted me, she says. Her voice is flat, emotionless. Over 15 years, I identified vulnerable people. People with financial problems, health issues, family crises. I befriended them. I gained their trust. I offered to help them with their finances. Then I took control of their accounts, forged their signatures, and transferred their money to accounts I controlled. How much money? Judge Nelson asks. Approximately $3.2 million from 17 families. What did you do with the money? I kept it. I hoarded it in various accounts. I was planning to eventually disappear with it and start over somewhere else. The courtroom is completely silent. Hearing her admit it, finally, after months of lies and manipulation, is surreal. Why did you do it? Judge Nelson asks. Bridget is quiet for a long moment. Because I could. Because people trusted me, and I knew how to exploit that trust. Because I was good at it. No remorse, no apology. Just cold, clinical admission of fact. Judge Nelson looks disgusted. How do you plead to counts 1 through 15? Guilty, Your Honor. The court accepts your plea. Sentencing is set for 60 days from now to allow for victim impact statements. Until then, you'll remain in custody. Bail is revoked. Bridget is led out. As she passes our row, she glances at me. Just once. There's no emotion in her eyes, no anger, no regret, nothing. Just empty acknowledgement. Then she's gone. Outside the courthouse, the victims gather. We're crying, hugging, supporting each other. It's over. Finally, truly over. She admitted it, Ruth says, tears streaming down her face. After all these years of people not believing me, she admitted it in court. Andrea Simmons approaches me. Mrs. Foster, how does it feel to hear her confession? I think about that. It feels like validation. Like all the months of documenting, fighting, refusing to give up. It was worth it. She can't claim she was just helping people anymore. She can't pretend to be the victim. The truth is finally on the record. What's next? Sentencing in 60 days. Then restitution proceedings. Then hopefully moving on with our lives. That evening, I sit with Warren in our living room. For the first time in months, we're not talking about Bridget or lawsuits or trials. We're just sitting together in silence. It's really over, Warren says. The criminal case is, we still have the civil case, the restitution process, but the worst of it, yeah, that's over. I'm proud of you for fighting, for not giving up. Warren, I need to tell you something. He looks at me, worried. I've decided to stay, to try to rebuild our marriage. But I have conditions. Okay, anything. First, complete transparency. About money, about decisions, about everything. No more secrets, even little ones. Second, marriage counseling. We need professional help to work through this. Third, you make things right with Owen. Whatever it takes, you rebuild that relationship. And fourth, this is non-negotiable. If you lie to me again about anything, I'm done. No second chances, no explanations. Done. I agree to all of it. I'm not saying I trust you yet. Trust has to be rebuilt over time, but I'm willing to try. Warren's eyes fill with tears. Thank you. I know I don't deserve it. Stop. Stop saying you don't deserve things. That's self-pity, and self-pity is what got us into this mess. You made mistakes. Own them. Fix them. Move forward. You're right. I will. That night, for the first time in months, Warren and I sleep in the same room. Not because everything is fixed, but because we're choosing to try. And trying is enough for now. Sentencing day arrives 60 days later. All 17 victims have submitted impact statements. Mine is 3 pages long, detailing not just the financial harm, but the emotional toll. The sleepless nights, the destroyed trust, the months of fear and harassment. The courtroom is packed again. Judge Nelson has all 17 impact statements in front of him. Miss Hayes, he begins. I've read every victim impact statement. I've reviewed the evidence. I've considered the plea agreement. And I'm going to say something I don't often say from this bench. I am horrified by what you did. Bridget stands impassively at the defense table. You didn't steal because you were desperate or hungry, Judge Nelson continues. You stole because you enjoyed it. You enjoyed the power, the manipulation, the thrill of getting away with it. You targeted the vulnerable, the elderly, the sick, the ashamed, and you exploited their trust with surgical precision. He looks at the victims in the gallery. These people welcomed you into their lives. They trusted you with their most intimate financial information, and you repaid that trust by stealing everything they had. He turns back to Bridget. The plea agreement calls for 15 to 20 years. I'm imposing the maximum. 20 years in state prison with no possibility of parole for 15 years. Additionally, you will pay full restitution to all victims, $3.2 million plus interest, to be paid from the liquidation of all your assets. 20 years. Bridget will be 63 when she's released. Furthermore, Judge Nelson says, I'm ordering that upon release, you will be prohibited from working in any financial or caregiving capacity. You will have no access to other people's finances in any professional or personal capacity. If you violate this order, you will return to prison. He bangs his gavel. This court is adjourned. Bridget is led out. This time, she doesn't look at any of us. She keeps her eyes straight ahead, her face blank. Outside, the victims celebrate. 20 years. Full restitution. A prohibition that will prevent her from ever doing this again. We won, Ruth says, hugging me. We actually won. You won, Charles says. You fought when the rest of us couldn't. You gave us justice. But I don't feel like I won anything. I feel like I survived. There's a difference. The restitution process takes another 3 months. Bridget's assets are liquidated. Her house, her cars, her bank accounts, her hidden investments. Everything she stole, everything she hoarded, all of it goes to victims. In the end, I received $287,000, almost exactly what Warren's loans cost us. It doesn't make us whole, but it's close. Ruth receives $412,000, everything she lost plus interest. She cries when the check arrives. I can move out of my daughter's house, she tells me. I can have my independence back. Charles receives $180,000. He uses it to pay off the loans he took to cover the ones Bridget forged in his name. One by one, the victims are made as whole as money can make them. It doesn't undo the trauma, doesn't erase the months or years of fear and shame, but it helps. The civil lawsuit is resolved as part of the restitution process. Felix structures it so that all victims receive their money directly, bypassing the need for a separate civil trial. It's cleaner this way, he explains. Everyone gets paid. No one has to wait years for appeals to resolve. 6 months after sentencing, I receive a letter. It's from Bridget, postmarked from the state prison. I almost don't open it. Felix advises against it. She's not allowed to contact victims. This violates her sentencing terms. You should report it to the judge. But curiosity wins. I open it. The letter is short, handwritten on prison stationery. Natalie, I'm not writing to apologize. We both know that would be meaningless. But I wanted you to know something. You were supposed to be my last score, the big one. Retire to the Bahamas money. You ruined that by being too smart, by documenting everything, by refusing to just go away quietly like everyone else did. I underestimated you. That was my mistake. You won. Congratulations, B. No remorse, no regret, just acknowledgement that she lost and I won. I show the letter to Felix. He immediately reports it to the judge. Bridget loses prison privileges for 6 months as punishment for contacting a victim. But I keep the letter. Not as a trophy, but as a reminder. Predators exist. They look normal. They act friendly. They exploit trust. And sometimes, if you're strong enough and stubborn enough and document everything, you can stop them. A year after Bridget's sentencing, life starts to feel normal again. Not the same normal as before. That normal is gone forever. But a new normal, built on truth and boundaries and hard-won wisdom. Warren and I go to marriage counseling every week. Our therapist, Dr. Nina Flores, is kind but doesn't let Warren hide behind self-pity or let me hide behind anger. You're both rebuilding, she tells us in one session. Natalie is rebuilding trust. Warren is rebuilding integrity. Neither happens overnight. Warren gets a second job to replace the money he took from Owen's college fund. He works nights and weekends, barely sleeping, determined to make things right. I don't need you to kill yourself, I tell him. I need you to be honest. I can do both, he says. Owen slowly warms to Warren again. It takes months of Warren showing up, being honest, admitting his failures. But eventually, Owen agrees to have dinner with him. Then coffee. Then regular phone calls. He's trying, Owen tells me. That counts for something. It does, but trying isn't the same as succeeding. I know, but Mom, everyone deserves a chance to change, even Dad. I think about that. Owen is more forgiving than I am. Maybe because he's younger, or maybe because he's just more gracious. I return to work full-time, throwing myself into projects I'd neglected during the months of fighting Bridget. My supervisor calls me into her office one day. Natalie, I want you to know what you went through, what you survived. You're stronger than anyone I know. I don't feel strong. That's what makes you strong. You kept going when you felt weak. The Harper Family Foundation, the one I created with money from the book I never got to mention, starts offering workshops on financial exploitation prevention. I speak at senior centers, community colleges, churches. I tell my story, explain the warning signs, teach people how to protect themselves. Document everything, I always say. Don't let shame stop you from asking for help. And remember, love without respect is just control. After each workshop, people approach me with their own stories. Some are survivors. Some are scared they're being exploited right now. Some just want to thank me for speaking up. You saved my mother, one woman tells me. She saw you on the news and realized her friend was doing the same thing to her. She got help before it was too late. That's when it feels worth it. When I know that my nightmare prevented someone else's. Felix becomes a close friend. We meet for coffee once a month, not to discuss legal matters, but just to talk. He tells me about his other cases, his family, his life. You're one of my favorite clients, he admits one day. Not because the case was interesting, though it was, but because you never gave up. Some people fight for a while then cave. You never caved. I was stubborn. You were determined. There's a difference. 2 years after Bridget's sentencing, Ruth Patterson passes away peacefully at 85. I attend her funeral. Her daughter approaches me afterward. My mother talked about you all the time, she says, about how you gave her justice, about how you fought when she couldn't. She died at peace because of you. I'm so sorry for your loss. Don't be sorry. Be proud. You gave her 2 years of peace and dignity. That's more than Bridget ever gave her. Charles Rodriguez moves back to town after his wife dies. He's lonely, rebuilding his life, trying to reconnect with his adult children who still don't fully understand what happened. They think I was stupid, he tells me over coffee one day. They think I should have known better. Predators are good at what they do. That's why they're successful. That's what I tell them, but they're still embarrassed by me. Give them time. They'll understand eventually. I hope so. 3 years after Bridget's sentencing, I get a letter from Dylan. He's 21 now, working as a software engineer in California, building a life as far from his mother as possible. Mrs. Foster, the letter begins. I wanted to thank you for not blaming me for my mother's crimes. A lot of people have cut me off because of who she is. You never did. I've spent the last 3 years in therapy, trying to understand how I missed the signs, how I lived with her for 18 years without knowing what she really was. My therapist says I couldn't have known. I was a child, she was my mother. Children don't question their parents. But I still feel guilty. Guilty that I didn't see it. Guilty that other families suffered because I didn't speak up sooner. I wanted you to know. I changed my name legally. I'm Dylan Foster now, not Dylan Hayes. I took your last name because you showed me what strength looks like. You showed me that doing the right thing matters even when it's hard. Thank you for that. Dylan, I cry reading the letter. Dylan Foster. He took my name. I write back immediately. Dylan. You don't owe me anything. You're not responsible for your mother's choices. But I'm honored that you took my name. Honored and humbled. You're building a good life. That's what matters. Don't let your mother's crimes define you. Define yourself. And Dylan, you're always welcome in my home. Always. Natalie Foster. Warren and I celebrate our 25th anniversary. Not with a big party. We're not ready for that yet. Just a quiet dinner at the restaurant where we had our first date. 25 years? Warren says, I almost destroyed it all. You did damage, but we're rebuilding. Are we? Really? I think about that. Are we rebuilding? Or are we just coexisting? We're trying, I say finally. Some days I think we'll make it. Some days I'm not sure, but we're trying. That's more than I deserve. Stop saying that. You deserve what you've earned. Right now, you've earned the chance to keep trying. Warren takes my hand across the table. I love you. I know I don't say it enough, but I do. I know. I love you too. But Warren, love isn't enough. Love has to be paired with respect, honesty, and trust. We're still working on those. I know, but we'll get there. Maybe. Owen graduates from college. Warren and I both attend the ceremony, sitting together, proud of our son who survived his parents' chaos and still managed to thrive. I'm proud of you, I tell Owen at dinner after the ceremony. For graduating? For being strong, for forgiving your father when he didn't deserve it, for not letting our problems destroy your future. You taught me that, Mom. You showed me what strength looks like. You're stronger than me. No, I'm just younger. I've had less time to get tired. 4 years after Bridget's sentencing, I receive unexpected news. She's being released early. What? I ask Felix on the phone. She was supposed to serve 15 years minimum. Prison overcrowding. Good behavior. She served 4 years of a 20-year sentence, and they're releasing her on parole. That's not justice. I know, but it's the system. Natalie, there's more. She's required to register as a financial predator. She can't work in finance or caregiving. She has to report regularly to a parole officer. And if she violates any terms of her parole, she goes back to prison to serve the full sentence. So she's out. After 4 years, she's out. Yes, but she's being released to a halfway house in another state. Part of her parole terms is that she can't return to this area. She can't contact any victims. She can't use social media. She's essentially on a short leash. It's not enough. I know it doesn't feel like enough, but Natalie, you won. She went to prison. She paid restitution. She admitted guilt publicly. She'll never be able to do this again. That's as close to complete victory as the system allows. I want to argue. I want to say 4 years isn't enough for 15 years of fraud and $3.2 million stolen. But Felix is right. Within the constraints of the system, we won. That night, I tell Warren about Bridget's release. How do you feel? He asks. Angry, cheated, like the system failed us. But also relieved? What? That you don't have to think about her anymore, that she's someone else's problem now. I consider that. Maybe. I don't know. I thought I'd feel closure when she went to prison. I thought sentencing would be the end, but there's no real end, is there? She'll always be out there somewhere. But not here. Not in our lives. No, not in our lives. I dream about Bridget that night for the first time in years, but in the dream, she's not threatening. She's just a woman in an orange jumpsuit, looking small and defeated. I wake up and realize I'm not afraid of her anymore. I was for so long, afraid of what she'd do, what she'd take, how she'd hurt me. But I'm not afraid anymore. She has no power over me, and that realization is worth more than any prison sentence. 5 years after Bridget's sentencing, I publish a book. It's called Document Everything: How I Survived Financial Exploitation and Stopped a Predator. The book tells the whole story: the debt, the manipulation, the forgery, the fight, the victory. I include practical advice for recognizing exploitation, protecting yourself, and seeking help. It becomes a modest bestseller, not because my story is unique, but because it's common. Financial exploitation happens to thousands of people every year. My story gives them language for what they're experiencing and a roadmap for fighting back. I do a book tour, speaking at libraries and bookstores. At every stop, people share their own stories. Some are survivors, some are family members trying to help a loved one. Some are professionals, attorneys, social workers, financial advisors, looking for better ways to identify and prevent exploitation. The key is documentation, I always say. Predators rely on victims not having proof. If you document everything, every conversation, every transaction, every concerning incident, you have power. But what if documenting everything makes you look paranoid? Someone asks at a bookstore in Chicago. Better to look paranoid and be safe than look trusting and lose everything. Predators count on you being too embarrassed to document, too polite to question. Don't be. Andrea Simmons writes a follow-up article. 5 years later, Natalie Foster's fight against financial exploitation continues. It's a feature story about the book, the workshops, the advocacy work. Mrs. That Foster turned her nightmare into a mission, Andrea writes. She's not just a survivor. She's a warrior fighting to protect others from the same fate. I frame the article and hang it in my office, not because I'm proud, though I am, but because it reminds me why I kept fighting. Not just for me, but for everyone who comes after. 6 years after Bridget's sentencing, I get a call from Detective Reeves. Mrs. Foster, I wanted to let you know, Bridget Hayes violated her parole. She was caught trying to open a bank account in someone else's name. She's back in prison serving the remainder of her sentence. How long? 16 years. She served 4 originally, violated parole, so she's looking at 16 more years inside. Did she hurt anyone? She tried. We caught her before she could complete the fraud. But Natalie, this tells us something important. She hasn't changed. She got out of prison and immediately went back to her old patterns. You were right to fight her as hard as you did. She's not capable of reform. After we hang up, I sit with this information. Bridget is back in prison. She'll be there for 16 more years. She'll be in her 60s when she's released. And I feel nothing. Not satisfaction, not anger, not relief. Just nothing. She's not my problem anymore. She's the system's problem, society's problem, but not mine. Warren finds me sitting in my office staring at nothing. You okay? He asks. Detective Reeves called. Bridget violated parole. She's back in prison. Good. Is it? I don't know how I'm supposed to feel. 6 years ago, I wanted her to suffer. I wanted her to face consequences. Now I just feel empty. That's called healing. You don't need her to suffer anymore. You've moved on. Have I? Haven't you? You wrote a book. You helped people. You rebuilt our marriage. Well, we're rebuilding it together. You're not defined by what she did to you anymore. I think about that. Am I still defined by Bridget's crimes? Or have I become something else? Someone who survived, who fought back, who turned trauma into purpose? You're right, I say. I have moved on. So have I. 4 years of therapy, 2 jobs to replace the money I stole, constant work to rebuild trust. I'm not the man who made those choices anymore. No, you're not. Does that mean you trust me again? I consider the question honestly. Do I trust Warren? Really trust him? I trust you more than I did, I say carefully. But complete trust, the kind we had before, I don't know if I'll ever have that again. The knowledge that you're capable of lying for 5 years, that you're capable of choosing shame over honesty, that's always going to be there. That's fair. But Warren, maybe that's okay. Maybe blind trust isn't healthy anyway. Maybe it's good that I question things, that I verify, that I don't just accept everything at face value. So we're okay? We're going to make it? We're gonna try. That's the best I can offer. I'll take it. 7 years after Bridget's sentencing, I receive an invitation to speak at a national conference on elder abuse and financial exploitation. It's a big deal. Experts from across the country, policymakers, law enforcement, advocates. I almost decline. I've told my story so many times. But Felix encourages me. Your story matters, he says. Not just because of what happened to you, but because you fought back effectively. You documented everything. You used the legal system the way it's supposed to be used. Other people need to hear that. So I accept. The conference is in Washington, D.C. I give a keynote speech to a room of 300 people. I tell the story, all of it, from finding Bridget in my kitchen to her sentencing to her parole violation. But I don't just tell what happened. I explain how I fought back. Documenting everything, working with good attorneys, coordinating with other victims, using the civil and criminal systems simultaneously. The system can work, I tell the audience, but only if you use it correctly, only if you have evidence, only if you're willing to fight. After the speech, I'm approached by a woman from the Department of Justice. She's working on new federal legislation to protect vulnerable adults from financial exploitation. Mrs. Foster, your case is exactly the kind of situation this legislation is designed to address. Would you be willing to testify before Congress about your experience? I stare at her. Congress? Yes. We're building support for the bill, and victim testimony is powerful. Personal stories make the abstract concrete. I'll do it. 3 months later, I'm in Washington again, sitting in front of a congressional committee, telling my story to members of Congress. It's surreal, this small-town accountant from Virginia, testifying in the Capitol about financial exploitation. But I do it. I tell them everything, and I watch as they take notes, ask questions, begin to understand the scope of the problem. The legislation passes 6 months later. It's called the Financial Exploitation Protection Act. It increases penalties for financial exploitation of vulnerable adults, makes it easier to recover stolen assets, and provides funding for victim services. I'm invited to the signing ceremony. The president mentions my case specifically in his remarks. Natalie Foster fought back when someone tried to steal her life, he says. Her courage, her determination, and her refusal to be silenced is why we're here today. Because of her, thousands of future victims will have protections she didn't have. I stand in the Rose Garden, watching the president sign legislation that came from my nightmare, and I finally feel something like closure. Not because Bridget went to prison, not because I got my money back, but because my fight meant something. It changed things. It made the world a little bit safer for vulnerable people. 8 years after Bridget's sentencing, Owen gets married. His fiancée, Rebecca, is kind, smart, and sees him clearly, all his strengths and weaknesses. At the rehearsal dinner, Owen asks to say something. I want to thank my parents, he says. Specifically my mom. A lot of you know what our family went through years ago, what my mom survived. And I want to say, Mom, you taught me what strength looks like. You taught me that loving someone doesn't mean accepting their lies. You taught me that boundaries aren't betrayal. You taught me to document everything. Everyone laughs at the last part, but seriously, Owen continues, you showed me that when people try to destroy you, you fight back with truth. You don't hide. You don't accept being a victim. You document, you build evidence, and you use the system to get justice. That's a lesson I'll carry my whole life. I'm crying. Warren is crying. Half the room is crying. And Dad, Owen says, you taught me something too. You taught me that mistakes don't define you, that you can be weak and still choose to be strong later. That accountability is a choice, and it's never too late to choose it. Warren covers his face with his hands. Owen walks over and hugs him. I forgive you, Dad, Owen says quietly, but the mic picks it up. I forgive you because you did the work. You didn't just say sorry. You changed. That matters. At the wedding the next day, I dance with Owen. He's 26 now, building his own life, making his own choices. You did good, Mom, he says as we dance. You survived something that would have destroyed most people, and you made it mean something. I just did what I had to do. No, you did more than that. You could have paid her off, made it go away quietly. But you fought. You made her face consequences. You protected other people. That's more than you had to do. Someone had to stop her. And you did. You actually did. Later, Warren and I danced together. It's the first time we've danced since before everything happened. We made it, he says. We actually made it. We did. Not intact, we're both scarred. But we made it. I love you. I know I don't say it enough, but I do. I know I love you too. Despite everything, I love you. Despite everything? Because of everything. Because you chose to change. Because you did the work. Because you became someone I could trust again. That, even if that trust is different than before. Different but real. Different but real. We dance until the song ends. Two people who survived their worst nightmare and came out the other side. Damaged but not destroyed. Changed but not broken. 10 years after Bridget's sentencing, I retire from accounting. I'm 51 years old, and I've spent the last decade not just working, but also speaking, writing, advocating. I'm tired. Not the bad tired of fighting, but the good tired of having done meaningful work. Warren and I take a vacation. Our first real vacation in 10 years. We go to Italy, rent a villa in Tuscany, spend 2 weeks doing absolutely nothing but eating pasta and drinking wine, and remembering what it feels like to just be together. No more fighting, Warren says one evening as we sit on our villa's terrace, watching the sunset. No more fighting, I agree. What do you want to do next? He asks. I don't know. Maybe nothing for a while. Maybe just be. Just be sounds good. On our last night in Italy, we go to a small restaurant in a nearby village. Over dinner, Warren pulls out a small box. What's this? I ask. Open it. Inside is a ring. Not an engagement ring, we're already married, but a new ring, different from my original wedding band. It's a promise, Warren says. A promise that the next 25 years will be different. That I'll be different, that we'll be different together. Warren, I know I can't erase what I did. I know I can't give you back the years of trust I destroyed, but I can promise you the future. Complete honesty, complete transparency, complete partnership. That's what this ring means. I look at the ring. It's simple, elegant, not trying to be more than it is. Okay, I say. Let's try the next 25 years. I put on the ring. It fits perfectly. We fly home to Virginia, back to our house with its new locks and its memories of both trauma and triumph. The house where Bridget once stood in my kitchen, where Warren once hid debt, where I once sat documenting everything in the guest room. But also the house where we rebuilt, where we learned to be honest, where we survived. Kara comes over for coffee a few days after we return. How is Italy? She asks. Perfect. Exactly what we needed. And how are you? Really? I'm good. Better than good. I'm at peace. With Warren? With Warren. With myself. With everything that happened. It'll always be part of our story, but it doesn't define our story anymore. That's growth. It's survival, but yes, also growth. A few weeks later, I get an email from Dylan Foster. He's getting married. He wants to know if I'll come to the wedding. You're the closest thing I have to family who isn't her, he writes. You showed me what family should be. I'd be honored if you'd be there. I respond immediately, I'll be there, with Warren, and will be proud to stand with you. At Dylan's wedding, I meet his fiancée, a woman named Sophie who's kind and grounded and clearly sees Dylan for who he is, not who his mother was. Thank you for everything, Dylan tells me at the reception, for not blaming me, for showing me what strength looks like, for letting me take your name. You earned that name, I tell him, by being brave, by telling the truth, by building a life separate from your mother's crimes. I'm proud to share a name with you. On my way home from the wedding, I think about legacy. What legacy do we leave? Is it the pain we survive, the fights we win, the people we help? Maybe it's all of those things. Maybe legacy is what you build from the rubble of your worst moments. I built advocacy from exploitation. I built strength from vulnerability. I built purpose from trauma. And maybe that's enough. That night, I sit in my office and pull out a box I keep in my desk drawer. It contains everything from those terrible months. The household binder pages, the forged signatures, the bank statements, the threatening texts, the screenshot of Bridget in my kitchen with my house key. I look through it all one last time. Then I pack it away in a box labeled The Bridget Years. 2016-2017. Not to forget. Never to forget. But to put in its proper place, the past. I'm 51 years old. I survived financial exploitation. I stopped a predator. I helped change federal law. I rebuilt my marriage. I raised a good son. I helped dozens, maybe hundreds of other victims through my speaking and writing. And now I'm going to live. Not survive, not fight, not advocate. Just live. I make one final social media post about my experience. 10 years ago today, I walked into my kitchen and found Bridget Hayes with my house key, about to take over my life. Today, she's in prison. I'm free. My family is whole, and federal law protects people she tried to victimize. If you're being exploited, know this. You can fight back. Document everything. Stay calm. Don't let shame silence you. Use the system. It's imperfect, but it can work. And remember, love without respect is just control. I'm signing off from advocacy now. I've told my story. I've fought my fight. It's time for others to carry the torch. But I'll leave you with this. You're stronger than you know, and you deserve to be protected, respected, and safe. Thank you for letting me share my story. Natalie Foster. I close my laptop, turn off the light, and go to bed. Warren is already asleep. I curl up next to him, this man who betrayed me and then spent years earning his way back. Tomorrow we start the next chapter, the one where we're not defined by trauma. The one where we're just two people who survived the worst and chose to build something from the rubble. The one where we finally get to be at peace. Subscribe, because the part nobody tells you is what happens after betrayal, when you finally choose yourself. And remember, document everything. Stay calm. Let contracts do what arguments can't. If you've ever trusted the wrong friend, if you've ever been punished for protecting yourself, know this. Justice is possible. It's hard, it takes time, but it's possible. And you deserve it.